Welcome, Vault of Doom podcast. I'm mickeygemineye. That's my name. Wear it out until I say don't wear it out anymore. It's a name. It's a name that I gave myself. That's right. I gave myself the name Mickey. Yep. Yes, indeed. mickeygemineye. Your eyes have gems inside of them. I don't know. Maybe it's a cool name to inspire you and make some kind of poetic inspiration remain in this place. I'm gonna fucking do this goddamn episode the way that I want to fucking do it, and here it fucking is. I am not a diplomat or a country western singer, so in terms of what the fuck I just said, that's how I'm gonna fucking leave it, motherfuckers. Fuck yeah, the fucking shit is going now. The episode that I'm doing today is gonna be called just the premiere. It's just called the premiere. So it's the premiere of the season. I'm gonna be doing this episode with whatever notes that I have now and just whatever updates that I have for you today. And then I'm going to be finishing off the season this year. I want to talk a little bit about those formats that I use to make my music. I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me. And that's why it's a fucking podcast, to be talking about stuff. And it's not not anything else. So I've completely fucking lost the ability to do proper episodes. So what will help is if you guys enjoy what I've done so far, donate on the Cash App, #mickeygemineye, and that's gonna go to my, it'll go to my bank account, and then when the time is right, I'll take some of that money, go buy some proper fucking studio equipment so I can record for you guys a proper fucking episode. Till now, I'm going to be keeping the show strictly themed as what it fucking is. Vault of Doom. A lot of stuff is doomed right now. There's doom and gloom all over the fucking place. Here's what the fuck is doomed right now. Metal is doomed, first of all. Live music is doomed. Actual poetry that someone didn't AI generate is doomed. Saying this helps combat it, but I personally like to wait until I'm ready to say something about it, And right now I'm ready to say something about it, but I was going to do the episode about singularity. It's just that's for conspiracy theorists, so I'll leave that for them. What I also want to do very quickly as a quick introduction is that my name is mickeygemineye, and this is Vault of Doom podcast. I was actually doing this show. I've been making content for 13 years, and I was actually doing this show while I was a rapper. I was making rap music and living that lifestyle, and constantly immersed in making content, making videos, making podcasts before they were popular. Now I'm doing something that's also not as popular. Everything that I'm going to be doing, you can be sure that it's not going to be popular. Every kind of thing that you want to do to try to go towards that, you can rest assured it's going to be dangerous. I've always been also a skateboarder. I've always been a skateboarder. I've fucking been skateboarding since a teenager. I'm still skateboarding now. And those are about all of the little ticking of the hands of time that I will allow for me to dive back into not so memorable lane about who I used to be. And this is the Vault of Doom podcast. I'm mickeygemineye, so let's get into the episode. So metal is doomed. Particularly black metal. Particularly the black metal scene is virtually non-existent around here. I've had lots of people have that be, you know, like, oh, it's actually not that big of a deal to say that I make black metal. And then it's like, okay, well then let's fucking make some, you know, keep in touch with me or something like that. The stuff fucking gets lost. The people get lost. Everything gets lost because of black metal. I guess you don't know how to black metal. I guess you don't know how to communicate. You know, it has nothing to do with black metal. It's just proper communication. Like, I guess you don't know how to communicate. Like, I'm a content creator. I've been making this shit for 13 years. I don't have time to fuck around with people who are obviously fucking around. So, you know, meeting other black metal musicians in the community, not having any open line of communication, meeting other people who don't even make black metal, and then having no proper communication leads to bad things. So I have no fucking idea what the goal or mission of black metal is, or how many essays that I want to write about it. I do know how linguistically inclined that I am, and how many essays that I've written about lots of things, and shared my philosophies on my recent film, where you can find some of that there. And where a lot of it, all the other stuff has also been lost. So on a certain level, this is personal. This is a personal issue. On a certain level, you can only really go so far with personal issues before it swallows you up completely too. I'm a wealth of knowledge, for example, and instead of going to a library, you can just do whatever the fuck you want to me, I guess. As for running a show, running a podcast, I'm pretty experienced with doing it because I've been doing it for 13 years. So whatever it is that I need to do to change things and learn, I'm being a bit abruptly halted on that front from having so many fucking problems with the technology and so many other fucking problems with everything. But it sounds like I'm complaining. It just sounds like I'm just sitting here fucking complaining about nothing. And it's due to ultimately due to the fact that I'm really unable to handle this much shit. I'm now forced to truly identify that the quality of this show and the quality of everything has become complete shit. And that's great, because there's a whole orifice and a whole genre and a whole community that capitalizes on that. And the running through the in-depth details about stuff is something I'm not going to do. Running into the in-depth details of what I have prepared is something that I'm determined to do come hell or high water. I have this shit prepared. This shit's coming out. So I wanted to name the episode Singularity, as a lot of those singularities, I'm talking all over the fucking place. This is total shit. I'm talking all over the fucking place here. Anyway, what I do have the ability to do is tell you what to expect in the episode. I have some stuff in the music world, some stuff prepared from what's happening in the music world, both in my local community and in the global music community. The specific kind of music that I focus on is black metal. Right now, the kind of music that I'm focusing on is what I want to get into right now. I have a project that's prepared, and I have a couple other little tasty little tidbits that I'm throwing in there to be all finished by the end of the year. Have this season wrapped up, whatever episodes came out, finished up this season, and then focus on season 7 whenever it's ready to come out. And then the music. I have an album that I actually read the fucking, I wrote the narrative for myself, as it's about specific stuff that has to do with me, and that makes it super valuable. That makes it very difficult to get out. That makes it very difficult to broadcast, as constantly the mantra I keep hearing is nobody wants to work, and you know, nobody, don't tell anybody you have any valuable qualities and all this stuff. It's like I don't have time for that shit. I don't have fucking time to sit over here and fucking play He Who Shall Not Be Named. Fucking Lord Voldemort is in Sirius Black is your fucking dad and all that shit. I am, you know, dealing with all this shit now, and then when it's over with, you know, I'll pay the toll, and I'll take the blows where they stand when this is finished. But right now it's like, well, it's seemingly like I'm just trying to get through the episode, just get finished with the episode, but I'm not. I have a bunch of delightful fucking treats here prepared, and the first thing that I want to tell you about is the album. The album that I have prepared is gonna have to go up just without any of the fucking details added in that I wanted to add in, and that's that. So that's lost forever, but what is written in the narrative is written. And I'll remind you, I'm not a diplomat or related to a diplomat, and I'm not a country western singer or related to a country western singer. I'm also not going to make that my mantra, and I'm also not going to fucking allow myself to keep repeating that, which is what a mantra is, something you repeat. Now, the album is going to be defined as folk black metal. It's folk black metal because it has folk themes. It's folk black metal because it has folk instruments. Therefore, it is folk black metal. Those things that make it fun for me to make are what I have to keep repeating now. So, it's no skin off my nose. As the saying goes, no skin off my nose. No, as that saying goes. With the songs being pretty much, you know, I am an artist. I am a creator. I am a musician. So I have a specific style that I go with, that I know that I go with. Being that, a lot of the huge aspect in being that and preserving that and continuing to be that is that you don't know everything, that you don't know all the specific details about where my sound is at with stuff. And one of the biggest parts in honoring that is reflecting back into where I have been, where I was, It's what history was made for. So now it just sounds like I'm teaching and everything. And if you can hear the constant backseat driving that I'm doing to myself, I mean, that's one of the things that's going to be going away forever. So I'm not necessarily enjoying every minute of this, seeing it go away forever, but I am certainly enjoying every minute of knowing that I handled it the best way possible. And these are the deets of where my sound has been. Without any feedback from anybody, with the creation of the music that I've made before, I have to go completely off of what I think of myself. And it's all the different ways that you can go with that. Ego, super ego, self-image, projected self-image, the ill and the id, Freudian type stuff. I mean, the philosophy and all that other stuff is an integral part of this genre. The philosophy and all that other stuff is something that I do spend time consuming. Therefore, when I'm burdened with having to broadcast my messages with this kind of thing, I'm certainly ready to get on with it. And by get on with it, I mean just anywhere, somewhere, like anywhere at all with what I'm trying to say, because it just sounds like I'm talking in circles. You can see that I'm clearly talking in circles right now. You can see that I'm clearly dealing with this stuff. These episodes are not streamed live like the show used to be, but making this content for 13 years, when the show started, I was just coming up with cool, interesting ideas. Before TikTok was made, we had Vines, and they were the same thing as TikTok. And coming up with cool, interesting ideas, and then having guests on the show, and having parties, and having me freestyle at parties, totally introverted, and doing all of the episodes with lots of nakedness, lots of my naked body, naked freestyles, naked cover songs, lots of how-to videos, how to roll a blunt, how to roll a joint, how to roll a blunt, how to roll a cross blunt, how to roll a cross joint, how to make dreadlocks, how to make space cakes, how to make space cookies, lots of weed-themed stuff, as my name was McPuffin. And before it was that, I changed it to McPuffin from the name McLovin. And then I became who I am today, Mickey. With myself being a derogatory term towards Irish people is a Mick. So I'm a Mickey, an Irish person. And if you're ever at all Irish, you understand we can beat the shit out of each other, make fun of each other, until the cows fucking come home. And that is the only real thing that's going to be there at the end of the day. The rap songs I was making is not where my lyrical style is at. But if you are any type of songwriter at all whatsoever, you understand that you're not necessarily, you might feel some kind of way. I don't have like a formula or anything, but you might feel some kind of way about songwriting and your interaction and your involvement in it. But there's an ancient Celtic theme called the Awen. That is a theme I'm not going to educate you on. I won't even introduce you to it, as it has been stamped and templated, and a template is available featuring this word on each one of my albums that I'm currently making right now. Having that said, the album review that I'm going to be doing is on The Ghost of Heritage by Winter Felleth. Winter Felleth also being the solstice that approaches. My terminology is incorrect, but you see where, as always, but you see where I'm going with this. We're approaching the end of winter in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, winter is over with. Winter's done. It's going to be time to start preparing for spring. I'm very fortunate to have the ability to speak on these kinds of things. I would much rather not have that be something that I'm forced to sacrifice just so that someone like me can continue to do what I do and what I am doing, and that is to just shut the fuck up and make black metal. However, you have certain instances that are only proven through time. The same way that you have an essay written that may or may not be on my feature film, Voyage, about just a simple motif that I've actually got from the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, where things are more valuable to you when you pay money for them. Now, having this totally contradict and maybe sink a ship or something like that, not a worry to me, as the quality can't be dampered with black metal. You can't damper the quality. You can have a perfect display of what I'm saying be on Woodland Contortionist EP on Spiteful Spawn YouTube, and go find that now, especially since I am locked out of that account right now, and have a prime example right there on display for you. How the quality certainly can be dampered, because that EP was total and complete fucking shit. That was the biggest fucking piece of shit any musician has ever fucking put together. And it's very relevant to what I'm saying right now, as it's in direct contrast to the album that I aim to finish in 2 weeks. That album that I aim to have finished in 2 weeks is the same genre, folk black metal. When that album is up, I'll have those two things thrown in the Coliseum together and see which one comes out. And then even after the winner succeeds in the Coliseum, you still have to hold your thumb out to the side and have the Emperor decide whether he dies or whether he lives. If it's thumbs down, he lives. If it's thumbs up, he dies. Just because you win in the Coliseum does not mean that you will survive. Another thing that comes hand in basket, so as to simply make fun of my predecessor in a cheerful, joyful, companionship kind of way. See, no, I can't even say, at that point when I'm building it up that much, I can't even say I'm just kidding, because there isn't any much way for me to really get my foot in the door with the person that I'm talking about. It's like, I'm talking about a specific person right now, but it's like, hey, I'm getting my foot in the door by saying, like, hey, you're the loose lips throw rocks at glass houses guy. You know what I mean? If I'm on my deathbed and I'm saying, what do I remember? What are the most joyful memories of my life? What do I remember? I remember the throw rocks at the sinking ships guy. It's like, okay, he's tailoring that from, something that's already been there. So, pro tip. That's a pro tip, and small wonder for why my fucking machines are running rampant, wreaking fucking havoc on my life, and literally just having a mind of their own. My machines are acting like human beings. They're running stagnant in their own, according to the machines that I have, and then they don't respond, and they don't send and transfer messages back and forth. And the getting it up and getting it moving and getting it active in its own way, according to the machines that I have, then they start transferring messages back and forth. So you have what's called a glitch, you have what's called an error, you have something that needs to be fixed. I have more important issues to deal with than running a podcast and earning a living off of it, or creating music and then distributing it to someone who can get that promoted and get that broadcasted and signed to a label and maybe get more money from that. It's a conundrum, folks, and thus the conundrum ensues, as I often say. So, moving forward with that, okay, The Ghost of Heritage by Winter Felleth is the album review that I want to be doing. I listen to a lot of music, and doing this album review is what makes my reviews stand out over the others. I think often about how people might do their album reviews, you know, or make all their content in general, considering that mine is currently at a standstill in terms of building this very slowly, building this very slow following. And I think to myself, oh, maybe they're all clear-headed, and maybe they all have themselves fully educated in the terms and conditions and privacy policies, and they read all the email newsletters, and they don't say certain things, and they don't do certain things, and yada, 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 etc., so on and so forth. Well, it appears to me then that I am a very valuable asset to this community, considering that I, you know, doing all that stuff, and I'm still doing whatever the fuck I want. And there's still just a gigantic fucking black hole of mystery surrounding all of it, despite the fact that I've described my history a million times already on the show. So it's a success. Not quite, folks. The conundrum ensues, and you don't make it out of the Coliseum just because you survived the battle. The album reviews, so anyway, the album reviews that I do make it pretty valuable because it's off the top. It makes it valuable because I'm consuming lots of music in that genre. It's very valuable because I'm creating music in that genre, and it's very valuable because I don't have any actual outside influences that can ultimately sway what I'm saying. You can get me, you can and you can't get me to say what you want me to say on the show and about these artists, and there's a big mystery that's not really much of a mystery at all. Actually, it's just a light at the end of the tunnel that I have blatantly said. I have a history in this genre, I have a history in this lifestyle, and I've paid my dues, I've did my time, and I've actually purchased Cryptoriana and the Seductivist and Decay by Cradle of Filth from a record shop in the midst of all this streaming madness that's going on right now. So what makes the show valuable? That's what makes me valuable as an artist and as a reviewer. Since the show contains reviews and it contains what's going on in the music world, what makes the show itself valuable is that I remain on the front lines, I remain on the battlefield, and I document what's going on in this way, and you can perceive it however you like. So it leaves little to the imagination. If the AI had an imagination, that you can see the risks going on there. That if the AI had an imagination, it leaves little to the AI's imagination as to why the numbers are low, why the slow following builds so very slowly. So, with that as an introduction, I'll reintroduce myself. I am mickeygemineye, and this is Vault of Doom podcast. Metal is doomed. The world is doomed. Everything is doomed. But I have good news. And it was actually the first words in the email attached to the message that I'm conveying to you now. Good news! Your song, or your video, not song, your video has been lifted from the copyright issues that it was given. I was given copyright issues for featuring a song on one of the interviews that I had with the artist. I had permission from the artist to use the song. Of course, the machine and AI does not know how to drill itself into, look for the key phrases that say, I have permission from the artist, or uploaded on behalf of whatever, unless I have done it many times, just like muscle memory, just like working out and exercising, that after many times the AI machine knows this video has this phrase, it's legal terminology attached to this video, so don't give me any copyright problems. And so that's good news. It lifted it up. It's like okay, you know, but unfortunately that's the first time. So I'm gonna need that to happen, you know, every single time that I have an artist on here, and every single time that I have their song featured on there with their permission. I'm gonna have to go through the dispute. I have to dispute the copyright claim. It's called a copyright claim. I'm disputing the copyright claim after having posted the legal disclaimer. The song is featured with the permission of such and such, so and so. It is not generating income, and then I can deal with how, when it does generate income, I can remove. I'm comfortable with removing it does not generate income. After that point, you know, then the machine and AI needs to kind of take over and delegate that. If I don't have a community, if I don't have people that have my back, you know, at least not people that I know about. In terms of just dealing with all that, with that said, guys, okay, I've introduced the show. I've introduced the first topic of the show, the good news that the copyright claim was lifted. And other people post videos about this. It's just that that's their creative idea. You know, when I'm doing my creative ideas nowadays, 13 years in the game, my creative ideas aren't spontaneously thrown on there now. If they are, they're shrouded in, this isn't spontaneous at all. It doesn't feel spontaneous at all. It feels completely planned. It feels completely prepared. And so, with that taking out all the spiciness, you know, let's redirect you to where the spiciness is then. Let me show you where the real spiciness is. The type of music I'm making is spicy enough, folks. It's true black metal. And these are reactions that you get when I am goaded, when I am left in the pit, left in the snake pit, left to rot, and then this is what happens after the choice has been made. Documentation. You know, this is what happens after the choice has been made. Podcast. Where, you know, I'm wanting to do a whole documentary on the county that I'm living in to bring some kind of closure to me living in this area. This area keeps sucking me back, and that's because it's where I started making content. That's because it's where I started actually recording my music. So, with the personal issue being resolved right then and there, that, you know, it always, for me, it always comes, in order to bring the best quality possible, no matter what the cost, it always comes to something personal. I'm going to have to deal with that personal issue myself, and moving on and moving to a different place, some faraway, distant place, you won't get the same quality, but rest assured you will get good quality music and good quality podcasts out of me. So, where I was with that, leaving the imagination, leaving little to the imagination of AI, that certainly has like, where the newsletters that come in the ability for me to consume the information on the YouTube newsletters, the YouTube creators newsletters, is limited to literal absolute nothing. Just absolute nothing at all. I can read as many email newsletters and privacy policies and terms and conditions. It's just really bad for your mind to create that kind of like cavity in your information retention, until of course I seemingly spontaneously come across some sort of a college or university program centered around helping with this kind of thing, and then all my time fucking goes there, and then all my shit goes to shit because of that, even just knowing about it. And then you have real Satanism, you have real satanic philosophy here to save the fucking day, folks. If it's beyond human comprehension, why the fuck would it be any threat to me at all whatsoever that there's some kind of scheming little fucking conniving, cunning trickery that can come at me and try and sabotage my creation that's 13 years running? So then there you have it. You have a weekly show posted every week on Wednesdays. I post the show on Wednesdays. And you have me posting randomly whatever singles that I wanted until now, when all the singles and music that I fucking make is very specific about everything, so that I can fucking cut through all the bullshit, sift through everything, and actually make a very decent symphonic production. These are the folk sides of the genre before I get into the symphonic sides of the genre. You can't quite really mix folk and symphonic, but if it ever happens, well, you'll find out about it here first, the same way that you find out about all my philosophies first through my previous incarnation of the show and my previous incarnation of the of my creative identity that had a lot of this stuff. It had a lot of this stuff on there. I've destroyed it, so you can't find it anymore. But it was where I started writing essays. It was where I started writing, you know, it was like speeches. And another quick introduction of me is that I have experience in lots of different things. Jack of all trades, so to speak. This is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm going to be doing. It sucks the fun out. Let's get perfectly brutally honest here. Making choices in general sucks a lot of the fun out when it's not done in some sort of way, some sort of specific way that you know, oh, I made this choice, it's fun. I made this choice during this time and it's not fun. So it looks like, in wrapping it up, if I did get any feedback, if you did have anything to say about me or what I make, you could have two things to say. You can be sure that nothing about the quality, but you can be sure that it's always going to be something that's not popular, and you can be sure that it's most likely not going to be fun at all. So it gives myself proclaimed I'm an asset title, something to do for a while when I prepare an episode full of episodes, put it in so much fucking packaging that it takes forever to get to the actual nucleus of the show and the actual content of the show. It's like, what is the actual show about? And let's just look at that. Let's just look at what is the actual content of the show. Metal is doomed. There's some slight education on mythos and history, as history contains mythology, current events. Well, current events are also in here as well. And then it's music, man. It's just music. And, you know, you have people that make all these videos and philosophies and stuff and about music can have a specific effect on you. And, you know, that's definitely in my feature film about how music can. I wrote a whole essay about that and whatever. That's in my film. But music can have an effect on you and blah 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 and whatever. So with the same way that I do things all the time anyway, the content of this episode is going to be that album review. It's going to be what promoting sites that I've submitted some of my recent releases to. And it's going to be about what is going on in the metal community near me. And I'll start there. So I've had this artist near me say that he makes the same music as me. We instantly cut off contact. Not even worth mentioning, aside from the fact that I have to broadcast that when you see a message, the only response that I get from this kind of thing is literally the exact same thing as a robot. It's literally the exact same. So a part of me always thinks, well, somebody's just being pernicious. They're just trying to appear as though they're giving me a hard time or something like that. It's like, whoa, easy there, Jack. You know, they're not giving me a hard time. And then I can see that I'm in danger. Then I can see that I'm in trouble. And then I can see, well, usually that's, well, whatever. And then, you know, getting the American way is get distracted. And then the American way after that is never explained, ever. But lots of people explain it, and that's why they're conspiracy theorists, and they explain it for you. I'm not, so I'm not going to. But if it appears that I do, it's definitely something else. And if it's not, well, it's never not something else. Anywho, at any rate, guys, so that's showing me, you know, more personal issues that are naturally going to work themselves out. I'm patiently waiting on that. It might take some time, but it's good. It's good to handle it. I've found that it's good to wait on, you know, for me to do things the way that I know work, and that is let this kind of stuff naturally smooth itself out. I might bump into the guy again sometime, and then we'll be like, you know, he'll have something to say to me then, and then I'll be like, all right, great, well then we'll schedule this day, boom, 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 hey look, I gotta go over here and do this thing, I'm marking you in my calendar for this day, and then here we go, all right, I'll see you later. And then, oh, God forbid, he shows up or I show up or we meet in public, and then we do the meeting and that we scheduled, and then we move on to another and another and another and another and another. It's just like, you know, me and him multiple times, or me and other people multiple times. This is what I'm doing. So this is a requirement of what I'm doing. So when things get in the way of that, well, I just keep going. I don't stop for anything. And if you bring friends along, well, they might piss outside your window. And that's funny because, you know, when something's really, really important to you and someone shits all over it, then it's hilarious. And if you needed to laugh that much and you don't have like any ability to watch any kind of funny comedy or something like that, well, create your own comedy then, I guess. You know, it's just a very unlikely chance I'm not going to bump into this guy again that I met. So, small world, as they say. So, if I bump into him and it works out, it's fine. If it doesn't, I'm just, you know, running the show right now and doing this as this is what's happening right now type of thing. As hard as it is to accept, it's the truth. Deal with it. Even the, like, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. But the other guys that I've met, you know, they're just like it's the same thing. It's like I'm already doing enough. This is enough. The only issue that is reoccurring is that it's not trending. That's not what everybody's doing. And, you know, it's literally like being in a court of law where I have to fight my case. That it's like, none of it is supposed to be trending. None of it is supposed to be what everybody's doing. None of it ever has been trending or what everybody's doing. None of it ever will be trending or what everybody's doing. As soon as it is, it's something else then. So, you know, having my expertise being lent to such a dark side of the force perspective of things, and having myself be able to constantly continue combating, reverting back to metaphors or reverting back to history, that's the only standing point that I have, that I can resist most things that would serve as a pitfall and remain strong and remain fortified through this as I experience some pretty extreme ostracizing from all fronts, from all communities, and from all endeavors. I don't care who's responsible. I don't care what the thing is. It's like just fix it. It's like, just fix it, and I'll be patiently waiting. It's literally too good to be true. It's literally too hard to believe. But until then, we have album reviews. We have promoting sites that I'm submitting my music to. I actually have 2 album reviews, as you can certainly see how cliche is the #1 enemy here, where the other album that I'm going to be reviewing is My Own Funeral by Gormoth. And it's the end of the year. It's the death of the season. It's the death of a lot of the stuff that's been polluting the show. And so it's me. And My Own Funeral is a good album to review. You know, me being pumped about it, me being stoked about it, me being excited about it is irregardless, as long as the show comes out decent. As long as the show comes out, as long as the episode comes out decent, you know, I'm fine with whatever. It hasn't been, but really, who's to say? I cannot rely on simply my own opinion to move forward. To move forward, you know, and then philosophy comes. Mr. Philosophy, Mr. Caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland shows up and fucking, who are you? Who are you? But what else is happening right now is that not only is that isolation sort of thing happening with that, but, you know, when it becomes a real problem, it's no problem if some random guy can't fucking make music with anybody at all, or it's kicked out of every bar in town or anything like that. It's even more not a problem when bars get shut down, music shops get shut down. And I'm going to get into the details with this. It's even more not a problem because of the ego, because pride cometh before the fall or whatever. That, oh, you know, these guys saw somebody like me waltz into town and all the wacky other characters that followed me. You know, I've seen it myself. I've seen wacky characters like walking around with stuffed animals in their cleft of their coat, and then fucking just like walking around with sticks and all this stuff. It's like, you know, don't even mention it. But I am though. I'm mentioning it right now. Like, it's hilarious. It's like, dude, this place is where I live right now is shrouded in everybody here knows me. Everybody here knows me, so it affects every single possible aspect of the quality of every single possible thing. Considering I'm actively making content, I'm actively needing to eat healthy, I'm actively needing to take really good care of myself, and I'm actively needing to, you know, not necessarily think about the future, but think about where the future of something specific lies. Like, the future of this show specifically lies in, right now, just a very ambiguous place in my imagination. It doesn't have anything specific. It just has, you know, it's like, dude, everybody else is just making content right now, man. It's like it starts off with, dude, it's just music. Now it's like, well, you didn't know that this, you didn't know that, you didn't know that. It's like every day you learn something about a package of 100 different things you didn't know about me. And this is what everybody's doing right now. They're all buying microphones. They're all buying fucking you know, recording equipment and videos and webcams and all these things. And then they're creating these things from home, and they're earning a living from home, while I sit here on the front lines, on the battlefield, appearing as though I'm martyring myself. But it's just leaves me, it's cringe. Okay, the word cringe is trending. You know, I have to say nothing about the word cringe, other than it's cringe that I have to do things in this way. As I don't have to do things this way, ultimately. But if you have any attention, if I have any of your attention at this point, if I am just a background voice for you to hear while you work in your desk, or a background voice for you to hear while I'm recording the video, you know, maybe I'm close enough within earshot of people. There's some truckers like hanging out fucking near me. Maybe they can hear me and they're pissing outside their truck, and they can hear what I'm saying before the episode's broadcast or something like that, and what have you. But this is what everybody's doing right now. So all the troubles that I have to go through is what nobody that's doing this right now talks about, including myself. So jumping into when that's, you know, when that's fucking weird, when like I'm, you know, some guy just blows into town and he's just making this kind of music, and then that's those were the two things. That topic was capped off. That topic was actually finished. Me, some guy blows into town making this kind of music, and then we got to make a big deal out of it. I mean, people saying things, whatever, all that stuff is aside. You know, having it documented is important to the velocity of things, the gravity of the situation. Most of that stuff's already been established, so no need to go over it, no need to redo it, no need to recycle it. But doing this the right way, I'm going to carry on and segue and move forward after the fact that everybody else is doing this right now. And so why the quality of my stuff has to be dampered because of this, you know, it would ultimately lead towards it would lead everybody towards wanting an answer. It's going to lead everybody towards wanting an answer. Anytime I've ever been forced to lead myself toward an answer, I've gone outside of the magic circle and exceeded going the extra mile, and then returned, and then literally repeat, rinse, lather, repeat. Or soak, rinse, lather, repeat, whatever the shampoo bottle says. And so now, where things are is where, well, we don't actually have a problem here. That's ultimately what it is. We just have, a risk of total communication breakdown, which is what I'm experiencing. So it's great that that's how things work. It's great that that's how things always have worked. But as it stands right now, I'm just still putting out these episodes and putting out these shows with me having taken plenty of plenty of time to. I've taken plenty of time to consider all the breaks that I've taken in my 13-year career in making content. All those breaks that I've taken is like, that's what the stuff consists of. Music is the space in between notes. Or, all the breaks that I took in between making content, all the traveling, that's where all the inspiration was gathered from. What is at risk here is nothing more, no big deal, just nothing more than potentially losing ambition to continue desiring taking the breaks in between the content, continue desiring traveling around, seeing the world, meeting new people, having new experiences, creating new memories. I mean, if there were anything else that I'd be allowed to say afterwards, I would. But I feel as though, in this instance, I will censor myself there justifiably. I'd say that that's a justifiable censorship. And that's also, again, that's another bad sign, considering I don't have to do all that either. All of the itinerary is already fucking set. All the shit's already prepared. And there's no lack of fun here, except for the same thing that I was just saying about, businesses getting shut down, and then people say, what I'm speaking on this from the perspective of a philosopher, from someone inside of the rabbit hole. You are literally experiencing that aside from the fact that business is shutting down, and then saying, well, now it's really not a problem because I'm just going to make a new one. It's an ego thing. It is an inescapable thing. It's not up for debate whether it's inescapable or not. It is an inescapable thing that if somebody attacks you and the wounds cut deep enough, you are going to act like nothing happened. You are going to act like it didn't bother you. And just in the same sense, that is exactly what's going on here. My ambition to seek fresh new inspiration from the world, due to all the other things that everybody else is doing right now, is at risk. And I'm telling myself it's not a problem because I can just get up and pack up and go whenever I want, the same way drug addicts can stop anytime that they want to. So with that analyzation being self-analyzed, it presents the issue that if you can not jump the gun, if you're listening, if you support me, if you're a similar person than me, if you can not act impulsively and understand that I'm a self-cleaning oven, that it's not going to change the fact that you're still going to want to clean it yourself. If you're the kind of person that does not give a fuck, if you're a self-cleaning oven you are still going to get cleaned just the same as all the other ovens, well then that's who I choose. That's who I choose to be someone, that would be my choice. My choice is someone who does things that way. It's, you know, it's where then the risks get spread. Then it's spreading. You know, the sickness of lethargy, true lethargy, gets spreading. And I've heard a lot of times people say things like, he's an actor. Are they talking about me? Are they talking about my friend who wants to be an actor? Oh, probably my friend. I don't know, but I hear that so often that I have to speak on it and say something and play a part in whatever way that I can, and helping any way that I can and getting that fucking shit out of my head. That the sickness is spreading, and that if you can do these things, facilitate and cultivate these sicknesses and these kinds of things under the context of a specific one that is explicitly stipulated in the itinerary, then it's like you know, everything's pretty predictable after that. And then getting to the war zone, as if I would ever talk about war tactics or something like that, you know, then I'm shitting on fucking conspiracy theorists or something like that. But, you know, it starts with me. It's I against I. And then you can contrast that, I can contrast that, as I often do, with my memories of childhood and my memories of the past. Then I can see now what that has done to my community that I live in. And then afterwards, it's, you know, nothing else after that is really stated. And then it's just a closed loop of, you know, this walking in circles, talking in circles, closed fucking loop. Nothing hermetically sealed. No information comes in, no information comes out. And as I have said, from the perspective of a philosopher inside the rabbit hole, hearing a broadcast from inside the rabbit hole, you would think that it's too good to be true. But it's also just really ultimately much larger than that. It's much larger than that. That may or may not cause people to think, oh, I can be useful for so much more, or something like that. You know, it's like, no, not when I'm not happy doing fucking what I'm doing. When I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, I can be of no use to anybody at all. And when it is not up for debate, you know, whatever. So that's it. That's the first segment. We have actual content here today. I've submitted some songs into Dark Sigil Productions, Black Metal Promotion 1, Black Metal Promotion 2, Black Metal Catalog, and that is it for now. What I do want to get into is, you know, the same way that I've been kind of structuring all that stuff since COVID. When COVID hit, I did a lot of regimenting and creating itineraries and writing, and that has so far done an exceptional job at preserving the actual content of me, the actual things that I actually create. Lyrics, songs, riffs, guitar riffs, all the way down to the very most minute detail of the tone that I want them. And that has been my preserver of that, thus far. I'm seeing now how my laissez-faire tactic is going to require some extra emphasis and extra effort, is going to require some more information from me, type of thing. And instead of backing out, I'm saying, alright, you know, for me to continue producing something that cultivates a preservation of the actual things that I actually do, I'm just gonna wait for it all to fucking dissolve, dissipate, and fucking where the only thing that is basically where the only thing that is left is more concentrated focus on what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm trying to do, and those have, you know, those have things such as can be related directly to AI. So it will come to a point where when I start using AI more and utilizing these tools as they are given, that I'm going to be broadcasting a lot of those updates here. And especially considering that the new season, with this year and this season being done, I'm entrusting myself with not adding a lot of garbage, not polluting it with a bunch of junk details and personal stuff that I would rather tell my therapist about, and just getting straight to the facts. You know, it's gonna take some time to work my way up to get to where I want to be with that, but I can see the vision is very clear. I can see where my vision is at with that, and it's my way or the highway, folks. So you know, for now I don't have much of an issue or a problem with uploading the videos the way that I have been and sending in demos the way that I have been. But obviously the people that I'm sending them to have an issue with them, as they're saying things like, you're not what we're looking for, this is not what we're looking for, or literally just nothing at all. So, you know, I come to that point, and then I realize, okay, fair enough. Then it appears that I will change direction or something along those lines. And you know, for all that stuff, just for anyone to be swarmed with all that, and for all that stuff to be thrown at you, it's next to impossible to make one way or the other, to make left or right, make sense of, make up or down, heads or tails of what kind of person I am, what role that I play in the game, and let alone what game I'm actually playing. But as I often say, proverbs are very useful in most instances, and old school, old-fashioned, traditional catchphrases are very useful in most instances, as they can sort of nudge you, benevolently nudge you, gently nudge you towards a little bit of common sense and a little bit of getting yourself back on track and focusing a little bit. Such as, what are you playing at? The Brits would say. What are you playing at? It's a good question to ask. You know, it's like, what are you playing at? You know, are you playing, what is the question? If you don't, you know, what is the, like, what is the intention of the question, or something like that? I don't know. The philosopher slowly fades away, and, or at least in my mind, the philosopher slowly fades away as I need to focus here on what I'm doing. And having these businesses shut down is a terrible crying shame to see these businesses shut down, and my conjecture as to why. Not much of a documentation, is it? Not much journalism, is it? When I'm left to be sitting with and among and inside of and surrounded by the actual answer. You know, again, everybody might be buying studio equipment, making stuff, earning living from home, but one reason why everybody else is also making alter egos and all these other things is so that they're not stuck with and left with the answer. Like, the answer for why these businesses shut down is what I am stuck with. I'll take full ownership of that because I know what to do with it. And so does everybody else. Famous last words. I just think that maybe those I know what to do with it things are what money's for. Maybe that's what money is for. I know what to do with this money, not this super complex philosophy or ideology. Maybe that's what alter egos are for. I'm this alter ego. I'm this made up cartoon character fake person, not the one who has all the answers. Alright, that's what money's for. That's what AI is for. Bing, bang, boom. Get it, got it, good, capiche. The end. Whatever. Anyway. You know, I'm a fucking 32-year-old man, okay? Heterosexual, white, adult male. Considered very fortunate by some. Considered quite a bastard by many. And those are the only people I want to associate with, are those people that think I'm a bastard. But there's lots of little folk. There's lots of wee folk and little fairies. There's also lots of giant trolls. In fact, I mentioned something on a last recording that I'm thinking about wanting to bring back, but instead I'll just slowly and gently redirect my focus and redirect myself back to where I was going with this. Whatever it is from my personal perspective, from my personal standpoint, and where I would have the responsibility of documenting this, you know, that's where I'm actually asked out. And whatever, it need not be worried about too much, as the ultimate fact is that I'm mickeygemineye. This is the Vault of Doom podcast, and metal is doomed, and the world is doomed. And these businesses being doomed really does fucking break my soul apart. And unfortunately, being left so long with the answer as to why it is, you know, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong about why these places shut down. Anybody will just listen to anything that I'm saying and just say, whatever you say, okay, you're right, you know. For me to be left with that kind of predicament, you know, that's where you should go to church. You should give your life up to Jesus Christ as the only logical fucking tactic at this point. And, well, since I'm not going to, well, other personal shit that is fucking broadcasted here is where the fucking shit goes. And I can review all this stuff later, like way later, like years later. I'll just fucking revert back to this stuff and be like, oh yeah, I remember when all that was going down. Anyway, so then I'll jump back into, maybe I'll get better at this. I don't know. Maybe I'll get better at it after 13 years. I think so. I think after 13 years of creating content, I'm just going to get better at making content. So it's not, there's literally nothing to think about. And as for these businesses shutting down and me posting good reviews, the communication here is where I want to get to. Right now there's a total communication breakdown, and having me say 1 star to this one establishment that is for all I said is just that they started changing on me. They started switching up. Everything else was good, other than just saying they started changing on me. It's even debatable whether saying that they're changing on me is bad. But they said stop back up, give another shot. I did, and was still rejected. I was given permission to return and was still rejected. That's a communication breakdown. It's a very dangerous place to be. I've experienced this and continue getting better at experiencing this, it seems. The other thing that was, as far as communication goes, The other thing that was said here with the other establishment, this is a music shop. And the other thing that was said here was that I gave the place 5 stars, gave them some good compliments. They responded with a thank you. I would hang out there. I would do my finger exercises. And it was weird. Let me get into that. You know, this is some real accurate documentation of this event here. That it was weird to go into this music shop, do my finger exercises, and just sit there with the owner, just breathing. Like literally, all we're doing is just sitting there breathing. You know, the occasional comment, naturally arises, like about whatever song we're listening to or whatever band we're listening to, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm a podcaster. I should have been podcasting. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I didn't want to, so I didn't have to, and there's no money coming in anyway, so there's gonna be nothing but bad things happening there. And so the place shut down. Can you see now how I cannot help but feel as though I am the source of this? How it's my fault, how I have been the cause of all this happening? And can you see also that if nobody seems to know who I am, including myself, that it's a conundrum. Thus the conundrum ensues. Thus the conundrum has ensued. But they posted a message to the public that was posted on the door, giving thanks to the community and all this other stuff. So the final words, the last things that needed to be said, were said. So that situation is fine. I hope that they're fine. Reaching out to them and all that other stuff is what I perhaps could probably use, whatever spirituality that I do have, if I'm not going to give my life up to Jesus Christ. And then after that would be, you know, then the second tier of closed loop, hermetically sealed, round and round we go, can commence, of course, after that. Other than that, the other music shop in town shutting down was weird. I applied for a job there. I think I actually got interviewed. Yeah, I applied for a job there. I remember being interviewed there because I was thinking about, literally could not think about anything else but Marilyn Manson. While I'm sitting there being interviewed in a music shop. Okay, and so now that place is shut down. Luckily for that one, saving the best for last, I have an ancient relic of one of the free guitar picks with their name printed on it that I can save as a, you know, it's an artifact. It's a very important special thing that can be framed on a wall with a small frame, put on a wall. Of course, once I can imagine and manifest some walls, put that thing up on the wall, and of course, once, you know, and more of courses, of course. So then, anyway, I want to go over now with all of the places that I've submitted music to. I'm using SoundCloud and I'm using YouTube to post music. Everything is still just the same as it's always been. Very traditional to my style. If you've been following me so far, you don't know about it. You don't know about any of this stuff. If you have not been following my stuff so far, you don't care about it. So therefore, scrapping everything, packing up, and leaving in the same way that I have grown used to handling such affairs is the only option. And since I know that I'm not going to do it, here we are, and here we have all of this. Bringing in some of my political awareness into this is what would make super big recipe for disaster. My political awareness is what's going to allow the whole thing to continue. What's going to allow myself to have the old chin wag and continue jabbering my jaws and flipping my jibs all fucking day long. You know, every single day is how often I want to post a podcast for the rest of the year.
Careful where you step and tread lightly, for you step on my dreams. I am to change that golden eyeless I'm returned in this godforsaken world. Dead inside and dead inside would rather not ever speak another word. Be careful where you step and tread lightly, for you step on my dreams.
With these record labels that I have not submitted stuff to, I've got my eyes on them. I'm going to submit some music to them, and this kind of chaos being transferred over to them is probably most likely the delicate process. I don't understand the mechanics of how it all works, but I do possess a certain school of thought that makes me inclined to draw conclusions, potentially generate some sort of solutions, and there you have it. Thus I sit here and continue doing this with the utmost intention on providing myself as an asset to anyone that comes across my path. As the guy who pretended that no one inconvenienced him and that none of this was a problem so long as I got what I wanted, type of thing. And whether that's true or not, that's the only way it can possibly logically be perceived. And whatever the hell happens anyway, making it out of this, the stuff still stands. The stuff still stands for what it is. Using the same name, mickeygemineye, using the same name, Vault of Doom Podcast, under the same production company, Lions Den Productions. That's going to be the only challenge, preserving that name and doing whatever it is that I do, about it is where none of it really even fucking matters then at that point, you know? So then I revert back to what role that I actually play in my spirituality, other than being a fan. What role that I actually play in the kind of music that I make, other than being a fan. What role that I play in actually being a podcaster, content creator, other than being a fan and a consumer. Well, you don't want the answer. I don't want the answer. No one cares. So when this is rehashed, I personally will be dealing with the same level of experience of rehashing when I was a rapper. No trouble at all, no problems, no big deal, no worries, just get out of the way, sort of thing. So with me having not really had many contact with anybody, you know, that being the blessing in disguise, you know, now I'm just I am the lyrics that I'm writing, sort of like that book where the person writes the book and then everything they write in the book happens immediately after. It's like almost exactly like that. So I can see how for my entire life this has been culminating to this dream, to this desire, to this thing that comes so naturally to me. Making these guitar riffs that sound like this were natural to me way back when trying to make peaceful music, and way back when trying to make like happy, positive music with positive messages. And then those riffs happening, and then, you know, look at a lot of this music that still has a positive message. Then you have why I don't have a following. It's like, oh, just use what we have here, just whatever. I don't want to take any time to give you anything special. But you know, the distinct human quality of that is what discerns a human from a machine, where a machine says, here, I have this for you, here, I have this specific for you, here, this is specifically for you. Everything's tailored specifically to you. Whether it frustrates you or not, it's the truth, deal with it. And you know, having the fucking end of 3-hour podcast talking to myself about all these issues is what's going to be a relief, because then the show actually running functionally and smoothly, with the way that you're going to know when this stuff shows up, you won't. That's the great part about it. You won't. I'm not going to tell you. The revolution will not be televised, etc., etc. Blah 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 blah, whatever. But I do like coffee, so if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can donate to Cash App at #mickeygemineye. Available in the description, and there's a convenient hashtag button at the top of my X. And that's where you will find delightful other treasures to explore in the world of Mickey Gemini, in the world of Lion's Den Productions. And the Vault of Doom podcast has not yet uploaded any exclusive content or exclusive episodes to its Patreon. So when I upload some new stuff to Patreon, you had better answer, because you'll have a blast. You'll have a fucking great time checking out what's on the Patreon. And you will certainly be like, damn, this guy fucking earned his dollar. He earned $1 from me. You know, and then fucking having yourself in a situation where, what I want for you is to have yourself in a situation where I'm inviting you onto the podcast to talk about music, even though you don't make music or podcasts. Having you on the show would be great too. This is like the thing that baffles me every time. Someone's always like, well, I'm not good enough, or no, I don't want to bother you, or no, this and that. It's like, I'm not going to lend some sort of salesmanship into this. I do have a history in sales. I have earned income that has been documented by the IRS, providing money and a living for myself by doing sales. So it looks like I'm going to have to, somehow coerce myself into not doing sales, but kind of lending a little bit of that. Because if I invite you on the show and I want you on here to talk, I'll be like, well, joining me on this podcast today is blah blah blah, with a conversation about these bands. This is where the conversation focused on. While we were having the conversation, it got zeroed in and gravitated towards and focused on this thing. And he or she, we, they, them, is a baker, and they bake baked goods. So having that said, I mean, it's like, dude, it's no problem at all. And I'm always feeling like whenever this stuff happens and I catch myself, and it's like, what are you guys staring at? And it's like, you look behind you, and then you see it all, and it's horrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And you go, oh my God, it's absolutely pristine. There's literally nothing wrong, not a speck on there. And then that's, that basically sums it all up. It's like, you don't have what we're looking for, said this record label. You don't have what we're looking for, said this promotional site. And it's like, I know I don't have what you're looking for. And then blinking twice while I'm in danger message being the only thing I'm supposed to communicate at this point, being something that I don't understand. I don't understand if I have to go through it the hard way, just take the long way home, because this ain't fucking home. I'm home right now, but I'll make it home, and I'll make it there when I get there. But this ain't there. This is not there. I am not there. So having the message of, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or blinking twice when I'm in danger, being something that's like, well, at least now that I went the hard way, I won't have to go through this every single time. Big problem. Everybody else is, though. I'm not the only one going through this. Lots of other people are also going through this. They might be super unfortunate that they have way more resources at their disposal. So now I'm left to fucking fall into the fucking Niagara Falls of gratitude over here. I'm going to pay rent with gratitude. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to build a house with gratitude. It's like, yeah, borrow as much of my creative inspiration and poetry as you like. There's plenty of it until I open up the shoebox, and then you have to Jared Leto me and then say, oh, don't worry, we'll fill up the box again, man. We'll fill it back up. That's a tragic story. Hopefully this doesn't become Requiem for a Dream. But my sources tell me, and according to my calculations, it might end like Requiem for a Dream, considering that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Anyhow, at any rate, who gives a hoot about what I'm about to say? Me. I give a hoot about what I'm about to say, and I've also got to research some sponsors. Having the sponsors on the show would be great to have them, I don't know, maybe send in some products, feature the products on the show, help advertise, help broadcast. People move and think at a very fast and rapid rate nowadays. I experience it in myself, and I witness it myself in other people's behavior. The sponsors that I want on the show provide relief for people who don't fucking care. And that mindset and that mentality not being seen on any other podcast or any other thing makes it so that, well, I guess I care, but only because I have to. Anyway, I said I don't understand the mechanics, but I just literally explained the mechanics of all this stuff to a T, down to a T, down to great detail. What I have for the episode is where we'll get into now, guys. There's gonna be a fucking event that I want to tell you about. There's gonna be there's going to be an event, and then there's a video that I want to tell you about. But before I get into that, I'm going to tell you about my subscription goals and my subscription... I already told you about the submitting goals. So for the end of the year, I want to get everything that's on my radar out, submitting songs. For my goals on getting subscriptions, I want to get the people that have found my show to subscribe so that everything's at an even number. I'm smart enough to realize that is the machine, that is the mechanical way of thinking things. Well, however, what I'm not smart enough to think about is that, well, the machine resembles in a great way a linear thing. The divine masculine thing, the moving straight without the turning at all whatsoever. That's what I'm smart enough to know, not smart enough to know. It would be a whole nother topic other than intelligence after that. If I do decide to go somewhere exceeding intelligence and getting farther into something than intelligence, I'd rather not do that at all. At least not under a fucking podcast. So probably not at all. Anyway, making it so that I can actually talk about the stuff in an instance of look at this event that's happening, and then it's like there's not a bunch of other bullshit attached to it, is where we're gonna be at next year, and that's gonna make the episodes a little bit shorter. And then having the episodes where I can talk about these videos, or do like a reaction video or something like that. That's also in the cards. But hey, what more could possibly be said until we get down to it? I want to also recap the year of the show. Doing that properly under this context, next to impossible. Literally next to impossible. I can't even use AI to get a better result of recapping the year, because I don't want it. So what I do want to do is tell you guys about my music in a way that's going to be relevant to you. And since I can't do that, I probably won't even tell you about my music for the rest of the episode. But since I will anyway, here it goes. All these singles that I've been releasing is a shitload of fucking singles. I'm releasing all these new singles. These are the way that I'm doing things is not to be described, not to be discussed or talked about. So I won't go there, be doing that. But what I will say is that there are about 26 new singles to be released with that 8-track EP. And that's if I don't decide to do that reprisal. And there's two reprisal albums. So what beautiful, pretty package that I do deliciously and delightfully have started for you, I have already started, is 2 reprisal albums, an 8-track EP that is the centerpiece, and then 26 singles. But ultimately, it's really, in a realistic sense, it's actually no album. All those songs will be released by the end of the year, and I seriously won't even have an actual album for you. None of those songs are going to be an album. The one that is an album and the 3 that are an album, none of those songs are going to be ones that are set to be submitted to promotional companies or submitted to any record label. What is to get out of the way is all these albums that are to be produced and recorded and distributed afterwards. All this stuff's available on YouTube, including this show. But Spotify and getting DistroKid with your help can be done. That I can get a DistroKid started to get the Spotify songs up, as the songs available on SoundCloud right now are special select cuts. The tracks I have available on my SoundCloud are special. Those are ones that I want to be by themselves. And the actual fucking album that's going to be submitted to record labels, that's a total mystery. I'll be announcing those when it's convenient, when it's proper, when it's appropriate. But everything that's dished out for the rest of the year is just free for all. It's just a have at it type situation, really. And it's a lot of stuff, man. 26 fucking tracks, an 8-track. That's 26 plus 8. That's 34. So then 34 plus like 9. That's like 43. There'll be like 43 songs released with no official album, no announced album, and it's all creative work. It's all, none of it's AI done. You know, what I like to pontificate on while I'm busy going crazy, losing my mind in here, basically. You wouldn't know it though, but maybe you do. Maybe you would. Is you know, with all this output of content, all this output of music, how can someone not think something like, oh, it's probably AI, or this guy is competing literally with AI, or this guy is literally side by side with AI, like something along those lines. You know, it's a question or pontification that would naturally arise if you would see the amount of stuff that I'm putting out. It's nothing to do with the amount that I'm creating. All the stuff that I'm creating already has its own space. It already has its safe space to flourish and blossom. As I'm looking at the album cover for Winterfell, The Ghost of Heritage, the similarities between, you know, that style of music and mine is what is for the comments. That's for the viewers. That's for the fans. And I don't know, kind of having that be what I need right now. It's like I need that to be natural. I need that to be something that people want. You know, I don't want to force people to like my music, but obviously I'm absorbing a lot of the stuff that other people that other people have. A lot of the mentalities and things going on in the headspace are being absorbed by me, and being bossy and listen to my stuff and blah 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 is one of those things. Anyway, using this technology, using these interfaces, and using this equipment is something that, aside from the actual making of music and making of podcasts and actually sharing them and interacting with the feedback that I get, using this equipment is something that I've attempted to upload shorts about, and I earned a subscriber that way. I got a comment. He said, thanks, I've just subscribed. And it seems like that's the invisible filter that I'm dealing with right now, where these machines having a mind of their own right now and being lethargic and just laying around just like a human, not getting anything, and then when you exercise you get something and interactions occur, that these things wanting me to interact in a certain way is like literally, play the game, don't let the game play you. And then, typically when you realize that, identify that, and literally explicitly say it out loud, it's not that it ends or that it's over or that you win, but it's that at least something changed. At least something changed, because that's literally what's happening here. The game is playing me real hard, folks. It's playing me real hard. The podcast game, the music game, these games are playing me real fucking hard, and any breaks that I take are detrimental towards my success. Anything else that gets in the way, anything else that happens or gets in the way in between me and my success over it, I could care less about. It's considered foolish to some, and it's considered courageous to others, but goddamn, folks, just getting up on fucking stage and playing live music is a struggle for a lot of people nowadays. I mean, actually having the experience of being on stage, performing music, and then getting off stage and then dealing with everything else whatever else it is that happens afterwards is it's not necessary. No need to do all that. You can just do everything from home now and all this stuff. So a real tactic that you could do, if this transmission actually reaches somebody that the information matters to, is, go ghost. Just literally pack up fucking ghost. Go elusively fucking off into the darkness and go somewhere real far away and fucking pick up where you left off. And then start your combat. Where I am right now, I'm in a home base. Everybody here knows me. And they're all just hiding behind the shadows, being filtered somehow the same way. Being filtered out of my fucking awareness the same way that all this stuff is being filtered through my phone. I can't get certain information on my phone because the game is playing me and the phone is fucking playing me. The phone is using me, and no one that I know is able to fucking spend time with me or talk to me or communicate anything to me directly with the same sort of filter. And so getting in the way of me in completion of an episode is likely to be very similar to me getting in the way of the completion of when I have the income that comes in through doing this, to where I can actually provide something for you and myself, as the enjoyment is always there. I do not enjoy one bit having all my data be crash, having my phone crash, having all the progress that I make go completely blip, lost in the fucking darkness. I don't enjoy that at all, but that always has been a part of the process in the many years that I've been doing this. You know, so all the details in that are ultimately the only thing that AI is going to say to me. That's the only thing that any suggestion generated by AI is going to provide for me. Something I already have. So if I want to continue on this path and have it be an explicit choice, I need not say no more. I need not say anything more. I've got to close off this episode with what topics I have prepared, and also just a quick reminder that I'm aware of how much of this content is pirated, being that it's not live streamed. With a lot of these concepts and ideas, all this stuff being thrown into the ether and thrown into the retrosphere, that it's all instantly pirated by people who have a following, people who have shows to perform, people who need ideas and don't want to use AI. You know, they can just get onto that black market side of how they retain their information, or how they obtain their information. There's just probably a little risk and a warning label that says there is this % chance of you actually retaining any of it. And, you know, if you're a band and you're recording a show, you can come up with ideas on how to do your fucking album based on me creating that shit for you. So that you have to say less, do less, and then just get to the point. One of the points I want to emphasize here is I am not a diplomat or related to a diplomat, and I'm also not a country western singer or related to a country western singer, even though my name is the same. So these can be little schemes that people could probably use. If there's any side of the people, you know, little guardian angels trying to help me out in that way, or in any way whatsoever, it's like I don't need that kind of help. I need support here, and I need it now. This show is something that, as I said, started as a really great idea. I'd throw up all my really good ideas on there and then fucking have the thousands of views. Meet people. Met a longtime friend on there. When it was the McPuffin Show. Then it became T, Third Eye Awareness. Then it became Lion's Den Podcast, which is now Lion's Den Productions. So all that stuff's been there the whole time. But Lion's Den Productions, being Lion's Den Podcast, was when the live streamed episodes of the show were on there. Me recording the music, featuring 10 to 15 different other artists on my music, and recording these things, is one example of my audio engineer career. Recording videos live streamed of guests on the show, other artists, and just other stuff to just talk about whatever. That is my career as a podcaster. So I've got a little bit of the introduction. Let me reintroduce myself again. I'm mickeygemineye. This is the Vault of Doom podcast. Season 6 premiere. And as I said, we'll be closing off and capping off this whole season by the end of the year, no matter how many episodes are in there, no matter the duration of them. It's just whatever goes in for the rest of the year. And next season, next year, we start fresh. But having all this stuff be live streamed certainly was helpful, and certainly is the preferred format, whereas you get a lot of things lacking in a recorded episode. I make up for it by having these templates, these visualizers, and whatever other effects and added in things that are in there. This episode, for example, you can't see me, where most episodes you could see me. And also on this season, this whole season, and I think the last one too, this season and the whole last season, YouTube exclusives, whereas the next one will be available on Spotify and YouTube. So it's a lot of stuff, guys. It's a lot of stuff. It's literally too much for one person to handle. It's so too much for one person to handle. I will be the only person handling it until it drives me into the ground. And having any guests on the show, I've got 2 guests on the show. I'm excited to announce when I'm ready to announce them, but that'll be for next year. Having the guests on the show that I've had so far and checking up on them is pure and point blank evidence of communication breakdown. I've got no open communication with the guys except for when they tell me that something bad happened. That's the only thing that they're allowed to say back to me, is that something bad happened. And then, hearing people say like that something bad happened is like, oh, okay, well then I guess I'm self-programming. Then I guess I'm just programming myself. It's like, dude, it's a huge deal. This is all a huge deal for someone just starting. And I'm definitely not someone starting when I've told everyone what to do when you're starting with other people, with instructions from someone else who's been doing this a while, to back me. And so what am I missing? Whatever it is that I'm missing, and whatever kind of question I could possibly ask that would eventually lead to a real answer, wouldn't be found in the comments, as you would have to either, it would be a miracle for you to have to sifted through all of this shit and then find and this location on the recording that there's a question there that I'm going to answer, and then you would type in the feedback in the comments and say, have you tried this, or why don't you try that? It's like, oh, it's not that, you know, my response, I've had this happen before where I'm saying things like that or asking what kind of suggestions you might have, and it's like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal to me. And it just, all it does is lead me to, well, if it's not that big of a deal, find something that is a big deal. And it's like, for what? I don't understand. For what? For what do I need to find something that is a big deal? It's absolutely ridiculous and preposterous that I should have to continuously make everything a huge big deal, constantly be extremely excited about something. It's like, dude, that's what this is for, man. That's what this genre is for. That's what podcasting is for. I'm doing everything correctly, and the day that I get it wrong will be the day that I stop and choose to quit. And even my fucking, you know, my phones playing me, and my phones having a mind of their own and doing all that other stuff, are doing little shit like opening up on their own. It might have a timer on it where the app opens up. My studio software is opening up on its own, and then because I'm doing something else, I have to click quit, and then fucking exit out of the app, and then close the app down. You know, these are little things that fuck with your mind. These are little things you experience if you illegally pirate movies, for example, and you have to constantly click off ads and constantly click off, you know, hot MILF singles looking in your area and stuff like that. It's like I've been doing this fucking for quite a while. I just haven't figured out what other kind of extra ass thing that I'm missing here. It's just like any other old head, just like any other geezer would say. Is like, what I'm missing here, or fuck wrong with these people, or something like that. You know, don't you be pirating no movies. Those FBI guys have like $10,000 fines and up to 10 years in jail or community service or something like that, I guess. I don't know. It's never quite clear what the punishment is for pirating movies. And that goes for music too. That FBI warning label used to be on music too, but you know, with the way that things are, this is a lot for everybody to handle. So I'm being robbed of being able to ultimately decide how I feel about any of this, and that sucks everything out of it all. You know, how do I really feel about this? Oh, I couldn't say even if I wanted to how I feel about this. But I certainly do not want to say how I feel about this. I know that much. I just want to fucking shut the fuck up and make a podcast, or shut the fuck up and make the music. You know, there's lots of other stuff that this being documented this far will cause for future documentation. Or just like the Lions Den podcast not being Lions Den podcast anymore, but now it's Lions Den Productions. You know, that's something that you say, a parent says to their kid when they're like, oh, I thought he was into emo. No, now he's into pop punk. So with me being somewhere where everybody knows me having a troubled childhood, me having this kind of treatment, it does not take any time at all. It does not take anything more than an insignificant amount of time at all to discern, to put two and two together, figure out what's going on here. It also doesn't take any time at all other than the amount of time that I want to take to use as fuel for what kind of music I make, as to who's going to die first. It just becomes a little janky and confusing when I'm playing extreme sports and making extreme metal and acting like a complete dunce. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, the mortality rate and statistics about that would be something I'd Google next. What's the mortality rate for extreme sports? You know, or something like that. But But anyway, it's pretty cool because it all has a cool story, and it's pretty cool because, you know, when it's not cool at all, actually. Not cool at all. It's like, it's cool if people are listening to me when I initially say it, or if I say it, if I put the stuff out and it's fresh and it feels good to hear, and you like what I'm doing at first. But now at this point, now I have to defend this really important shit that I put up on the line. You know, the really important shit being my original artwork that I've drawn by hand, while everybody else is doing AI art, and then they're adding filters and using Photoshop. So the cool story behind all this stuff doesn't matter as much as staying current. You know, whenever I'm ready to come out of the shell and come out of the, you know, come out of the thing, the stuff that I am putting out, you know, I've already decided when I'm going to be ready. So that puts the pressure on, that puts the heat on, that makes the stakes kind of high. And I don't know what the fuck anybody could else possibly ever expect from somebody who has a lifetime of the things that I have. I'll share my story eventually at some point, and actually write the memoir and all this stuff. But for now, I want to tell you guys about An Evening with Randy Blythe, Just Beyond the Light, an event that's going to be touring the country, and they'll be right here in Joliet, Illinois at the Forge. Ah, the Forge. I had a feeling it'd be the Forge. It's a spoken word book tour and Q&A. Tickets and info available at randybly.net. That image should be available in the video by the time I have this video edited and ready for upload to YouTube, so that you can see the flyer. And then the link is available in the description. It's the first link in the description. The last one, however, is going to be, well, if you're in Poland, you can be in a behemoth video, god damn it. That sounds badass. That's right, I said behemoth. In a behemoth. I've actually accidentally, another cool story, I accidentally spelled behemoth. You could be in a behemoth video if you live in Poland, and go to the link in the description. It's the last one. And god damn it, that's cool. Another quick reminder that this is a full year recap, so I'm going to start getting into those deets right now as they become available through my super advanced studio equipment that I have. So we talked a lot about how the metal scene, all that jabber, and this is all it amounts to. We talked about how the metal scene does not exist near me. We talked about how all these establishments keep shutting down, with me feeling like I'm at fault, or me feeling like there's something that I can still do about it, or could have done about it, or at the very least, what I did before these establishments shut down. Applied for a job, got an interview, performed music there, coincidentally some Lamb of God, and then also just sat there and said nothing but breathe and do finger exercises on my guitar. Well, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that, but that's what we talked about, you know. And then the goals that I have for, you know, combating AI is a big buzzword. You know, putting myself in danger with that. And then I talked a little bit about the history as well of the show and as my creative endeavors. So it's a pretty jam-packed episode, fully loaded, full of great, tasty treats and nuggets of wisdom. There's also plenty of philosophical stuff to do to fill my time with when I don't have any studio equipment. I don't have a phone. I don't have a guitar. I don't have, well, I've always had a guitar, but when I don't have the fucking desire to fucking play guitar, well, even though I always have the thing in my hands and I'm always playing fucking finger exercises. Anyway, lots of philosophical stuff. And, and we have to do the, and the submissions. The submissions, the way that we're going to carry out the rest of the year with the music, the way that we're going to carry out the rest of the year with the music, with the podcast. And so, the album review that I'll be doing today, a lot of the stuff that I also don't have time for when I'm busy doing all that is just like how I'm feeling about seeing what people are actually posting. You know, I'm literally speechless. Almost every single thing that I see in my news feed leaves me like absolutely blunderbusted about, am I supposed to say something here? Am I supposed to be here in the midst of these shitty memes and stuff? You know, the only memes that actually stand out are absolutely stupid. So, you can't ever say that I'm on my high horse with that, being that I share the same idiocracy that everyone else possesses. With, you know, it's like, okay, well, I'm not calm enough or relaxed enough, or okay, I need some kind of conclusion to draw, or okay, I need some way to strengthen my communication. It's like, no, I need some way to acknowledge and repair the error that is here, and the error is that there is a full communication breakdown and something is wrong here. I mean, I'm pulling up any social media app aside from X being a great news source, like the only good news source, X, and then I'm pulling up any of the other social medias that I use, and then I'm seeing like, well, look, I'm trying to be a part of this community here. Or, look, I am a part of this community is like, look, I'm trying to say something that's like, you know, in depth, things that people don't have time for. It's like, it doesn't matter whether people have time for it or not, or whether it fits in, or whether it's appropriate or not. There are plenty of people that appeals to, and getting that to those people is something that requires time. So not only does it require time when you want something like that, it requires the patience. If you have the experience, like me, you're very unfortunate, because having the experience is something that you're not going to be able to withhold the information about for too long. And I'm eventually going to be posting hundreds of YouTube shorts about how to do this finger exercise on your guitar. Here's some music theory lessons. Here's some more stuff. As it stands right now, I've taught you everything I know, and we have not gotten into the spirituality yet. So, with that being the next parasite, you know, the music community feels like a parasite to me. That I'm a musician in this community, have no interactions with them at all whatsoever, aside from it's always something bad. And then them never being validated on anything that they have to say against me, considering that I have no context of being here. Like, I have no reason to be here at all in this geographic location. And likewise, equally so, I have no reason to go gallivanting off Gandalf the Grey style to go fucking find some plant my roots somewhere else. It's just a great spot and a great arena to work out all the stuff that I have to do for a while, and carry on to the next page, give it the next trial. You know, maybe consider myself some sort of a voluntary applicant or voluntary volunteer into trying some beta testing and beta programs on, you know, how you can mess with people in America with when they have technology, when they have a phone, and when they have something that actually means something to them, and something that they actually want to move forward with and make something out of it. This is the result for me. Unfortunately, I have succeeded. I have not acted injured. I have not acted like I gave up. I have not acted anything, and unfortunately for me, I have succeeded, and unfortunately for everybody else, I've succeeded. So now there is a slight chance now that there's going to be multiple Mickey Gemineys popping up, if they haven't already, either in remote locations or right here in this specific spot, to go through the same trials and tribulations as I did. I mean, that's some very revealing evidence. If you follow me, on the socials, if you follow what's going on in the world, if you follow what's going on in the community, and if you follow what's going on in my own personal life, it's very revealing evidence. It's a lot, and so is all this. So is all the stuff that is here. You know, check my notifications on Instagram, check my notifications on Discord, check my emails, check my threads, check my TikTok, check my X. You know, make sure that there's not something else in there that I don't care about. And then, you know, check just constantly checking a bunch of things that there isn't anything there for. And then turn around and make a whole bunch of content afterwards. That's basically what I've been doing. So that's the recap of this episode. That's the recap of what's going on. And then doing the full year recap, okay? Starting the premiere of when it changed from Vault of Doom, or when it changed from Lion's Den podcast to Vault of Doom podcast, brought to you by Lion's Den Productions. That's a winter camping escapade with mostly metal magazine coverage, which you can also look forward to on a follow-up episode here with the 2 issues with those metal magazines, and then all the coverage that's in there. I'm covering the coverage, so to say, and it's just like, hey, this stuff is out there. Hey, I'm still alive. Hey, I'm still here. And, you know, when the show actually becomes something substantial and something more in alignment with what I know a show to actually look like based on experience, it'll be small wonder that donations start coming in, and that money that I'm spending it on is going to go towards the show. It's all going to go back into the show. And in case you don't know that I like coffee, I'll remind you again, I like coffee. I like tea. Whichever one's my favorite, none of my concern. But those episodes, you know, all those episodes titled, it was really cool how I had those formatted as the name of the episode was the number of that the episode was. The number was spelled out, ONETWOTHREEFOUR, and then having the follow-up be the actual numerology, the numbers. And then, you know, each season was supposed to be actually 12 episodes, a dozen or more, if you add in the bonus. And then, so then that season, and then it got to the Roman numerals season. And in the Roman numerals season, so here we go, here we are. And in the description of each of the episodes, you can find what was inside of the episode. So the first one, you know, being a talking head and being the gift of gab, not an issue. Putting the fucking stuff on here, really, literally nothing an issue. There's like no issues here. Aside from the one detail I may have forgot to mention, all that following that I had in the first incarnations of the show and everything, all those interactions, well, I didn't spend too much time really in the comments. I didn't spend really too much time focusing on the demographics. I saw that a lot of the demographics were from other countries. I saw that it had a balanced male and female demographic, and I saw that those people that were in there were comfortable shit posting and posting crude comments. So that is the sign of a healthy podcast. Having a healthy podcaster has nothing to do with your physical health or mental health. Well, it has more to do with, you know, what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is a healthy podcaster, someone who checks their demographics and analytics. So I'm doing that now, and I'm seeing they're all male, and there's only 3 countries. And, you know, having any interest in tailoring my stuff towards those demographics and any ambition to do so is non-existent without the feedback, without somebody saying something about it. I literally do it myself, honestly. I do it myself so much that I'm literally like looking at other people's content, looking at other people's posts, and then saying, well, what could I possibly say that would just be thrown in there and thrust in there without it even seeming like I said anything? And then I just, boom, throw something in there as soon as I can. It's like, well, I guess I'm doing everything myself then. So anyway, the first episode, no description. You know, you have lots of this stuff happen. Very few make it through the next stage, as you get distracted often with those, you know, advertisers. There's somebody trying to advertise to themselves. Well, they're aware of the same things that I'm aware of, but they're using their behavior and their tools and resources that they have at their disposal to, like, basically hack into everybody else's information and just give a free-for-all of information. Welcome to the age of information, and welcome to somebody who tells you about it so that he can, I feel like I'm talking third person almost, so that I feel like I can clear the name of conspiracy theorists. I feel like now at this point, with what I have done from this, now I have to clear the name and something like that. But not everybody's getting away unscathed from this. And when that happens and somebody's going to be repairing themselves from the damage of what I've caused, I'll be here. I'll be right here. Anyway, that's enough logic for now. Episode 2 is a discussion about black metal versus death metal, comma, new music out, comma, guitar hacks and what's to come, period, here on the Vault of Doom with me, mickeygemineye. It's a perfect fucking description. Everything's perfect, but I can see, feel, and just hear from my intuition. A little birdie is telling me I'm infected with a virus. You know, a sword in the chest of cowardice. The episode goes up, it gets uploaded, and then you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people are seeding off of me, the host. Hundreds of thousands of other parasites and the virus are seeding off of me, the host of all this stuff. I'm the host of the show, not the host of a virus. So it looks like anything that I could have actually done to provide an integral role and that I would be aware of ahead of time would be that somebody that can help with that and then jumps in and says, I'm helping you with this. You know, that it's like, okay, you're helping me with this, but you're not helping me that much. And then, you know, whatever. You know, the hierarchy, the levels, different levels of shit. Everybody thought this was comedy. Everybody thought I was a comedian. Everybody thought that, you know, that's one of the identifiers of being infected with a virus. That a segue, a Trojan horse into this virus is that there's some comedy here for you. There's comedy everywhere. If you have any sense of humor, if you pay attention to anything long enough, everything's there. just like on my show, everything's there for a successful podcast, and everything's there for successful music, but you're failing to recognize what's going on here. I make black metal. I'm satanic. God and Jesus worshippers and Jesus people have no place whatsoever in mixing the two, unless of course you're an alchemist. And I think that there might be a whole nother can of worms there. A whole nother fucking can of worms there would be there if it was there, but since it's not there yet, here's what we have in the meantime. So those first seasons were spelt out, then that was spelled out for you, and then it was numbered, and then actually I'm pretty glad about this. I'm pretty happy about this. I'm so stoked, guys, to tell you this. I have not done the numerology yet. I haven't done the numbers yet. So having the stuff spelled out for you and then the Roman numerals, we're left with this season gonna close off my desire to have the numerology and the numbers stipulate what episode it is. And then we can get on to a fresh new fucking season, fresh new fucking year. All that music's gonna be put out. I won't care about none of it at all. And goddamn, it'll be really good to be free from a lot of the junk that's clouding me up. I mean, I've had it in my mind frequently, in the back of my mind, that, you know, being through this, I'm well aware of the gravity of the situation. I'm well aware of how serious that it is. When someone puts in this much time, when someone puts in this much money, when someone puts in this much focus and energy, when someone cares this much about it, that those fucking lead to me saying, well, I can help personally myself in some specific way and earn the credit, and I want the credit for it. Whatever that means. Unfortunately for everybody still playing I'm Jesus and still playing I'm the devil and I'm satanic and I'm Jesus worshiper. Unfortunately for the people who want to not know somehow that I'm aware of you guys fighting about that kind of stuff when I'm just trying to make a podcast here, man. Unfortunately for those guys, I don't have the, it's out of my hands. I don't have the power to control that. I can't control that. So now I am in a certain level accountable for that. I'm in a certain level accountable for the fact that people can literally make a shit show out of this fucking thing. You know, would it have been anything at all if I had the desire or ability to actually entertain the idea of what things coulda, shoulda, woulda been? I don't fucking know. I don't have time for that. I can sacrifice woulda, coulda, shouldas and the way things could have been. But for right now, I want every bit of this fucking music that I have out this year out, or every bit of this podcast, the ideas that I have it out, and winter's over in 2 weeks. Is a little bit of my own devil's due and a part that I can play in what I actually do in a bit of that trickery, that low-key trickery. Just in case I'm rushing to go get some more AI-generated sandwiches. You know, one of the things I like about running the show is that when it's appropriate, I can say things like, hey, by the way, have you guys ever seen those freaking robots that serve you food at a restaurant? I was in Florida and I found one, and they were really cool. They had a freaking robot at this Chinese restaurant that had served me some food, It served, I know it served the other guy's food. It didn't serve me. I had a human, because I'm very special. I had a human serve me food. And I could see the robot driving. It rolls on the floor, and then it holds a tray out, and then it's like, it drives up in front of them, and like, I'm just staring at him like a director. I'm just like, oh, I'm a director. All right, if I'm not an actor, then I'm a director. All right, if I'm not an actor or director, well, then I don't know what to say. I'm freaking out, blah, 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 blah. Not allowed here. You're not allowed there. You're not allowed anywhere. And so then fucking, I'm just staring at them. It's like, well, what else am I going to be doing here? Fucking twiddling my thumbs, you know? It's like, oh, do I need to have the fucking, you know, I don't. Well, then I don't need to have anything, you know? It's like a way that a dialogue that goes on in my head that I don't care to even acknowledge until it's too late. So, the fucking thing is like driving up in front of this couple or this family. It was a family. It was like there's kids and women there, and like it drives up to them in the tray. It's holding the tray out, and then they just grab their drinks and their food off of the tray, and then the robot drives around and drives back and forth. It's purely comical. Any public appearance that I ever make is so tragically depressing and absolutely ridiculous. I could not even begin to entertain how much worse that it would make it if I failed to acknowledge or understand that what I am already doing is my way or the highway, the way it's going to be, the end, and serves the purpose of whatever the fuck that comedy shit is. I mean, literally, like every public interaction, public appearance is riddled with this stuff. You know, people thinking that they can say certain things, people thinking that they can just do certain things just because I'm there. It's a clear-cut matter of this may not be live streamed, folks, but you're experiencing it if you're listening hand and foot to the episode and the tone of voice and the way that the words that I'm using and the way that things sound and the way that things feel. It's a clear-cut war, battle zone, battlefield of it's two people's way or the highway. So I can go ahead and do that. I can couple that with Jesus people versus devil people. Stop arguing around me. Constantly alternating. It's constantly alternating between you're a Jesus worshiper, oh, you're a devil worshiper, and then it's my way or the highway. No, it's my way or the highway. It's like, well, I mean, look at any news, look at any current events in any news right now, and you'll see that this is what we are absorbing here in this country. And look at everybody else in this country and see how completely separated that we all are. And see how completely, you know, everybody looks this ridiculous then. You know, when you see something, say something, folks. Won't get into any of the current events, but for me to fill up my time with that, that's how much time that I have. That we just had another school shooting, and literally just simply saying it is all that I have time for. So I'm moving on now to my own little personal world. In the other fucking episodes of the show, look, everything that's available on Spotify is just me. There isn't anyone guest appearing on the Spotify version of the show. But there's lots of really good ideas and good topics on there. You can rummage through this if you're starting out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do you a salad. I'm gonna give this to you. Go to the Vault of Doom podcast on Spotify and rummage through all the topics. There's probably a secret cult. There's probably a secret cult and sect about people who refuse to use AI And so they do things like this. They go and pirate other people's ideas without commenting, and that is what I am, a host too. I am clearly a host to that secret cult, and I am combating it through simple awareness, like putting the evil eye upon you for this sort of thing. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what the scorpion is supposed to do. The scorpion, the saint is supposed the saint gets stung by the scorpion, and his pupil asks, why would you let him do that? And the saint says, well, that's the saint's job, is to let the scorpion sting him, and the scorpion's job is to sting. I am the scorpion. So, evil eye upon you for pirating all my ideas over here. That's a very real thing, folks. You should never get caught doing that. Unless you get famous for getting caught doing that, then you're basically a serial killer, Charles Manson, Bobby Beausoleil type of guy. Any fucking way. Any fucking way. Now these fucking introductions, all these things that you know about me, all the stuff that you blah blah blah, you know, all the secret Santas, all the guardian angels, that goes for you too. Every single, it's like, how much of an evil eye do you want to put on how many people? You know, that's the question you're asked nowadays, is like, choose your doom. Is just, sorry guys, choose your doom is already on my link tree, so my shit's more important. You know, I'm asking you, choose your doom. It's not easy to figure out who the culprit is. The culprit is somebody I'm asking the question to, who waits for the question to be asked by me, who's not going to answer the question, but instead utilizes the time that they would otherwise spend answering the question to continue pirating my ideas. One of these days, I'm certain of it, people will have a change of heart, stop doing this shit to me, and you'll understand the scorpion has stung you, because that's the scorpion's job. If the scorpion has stung you, like I'm even going to know about it anyway. Anyway, that's enough talking in the air. Let's talk on the air. Here with me, mickeygemineye, Vault of Tomb Podcast. I'm recapping this season with, I'm giving some of these ideas to you right now, that you can use the metal magazines, covering the coverage on there as a fan or something of the sort. You can use a lot of these ideas. I'm just gonna read them off to you. Socials. What's happening on the socials? What else is happening in the vault? Under the context that this is a black hole and a vacuum, saying what else is happening in the vault requires a follow-up episode that is an attack against comedians. Freestyle, just go straight off the top of your dome, whatever the fuck you're thinking. But when you need to be a bit tidy and in order, events and monuments and holidays are great ways to set the premise for your podcast, like Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Of course, you can always talk about your favorite band. My favorite band is and always has been Cradle of Filth. Movies that are tailored to the specific stuff. I do happy birthdays to people relevant in the scene. You know, it's not easy to understand this, but it apparently is easy for me to do everything. So it's very easy, evidently, for me to understand that when I open up my X and I see all this information immediately streamed live, where happy birthday, well, the first one that showed up was the creator and owner of the platform and something he posted. So there's no way around that other than to acknowledge it and base a few moments on discussion of that. However, it is political, and I don't necessarily have a disclaimer that says there are no political discussions. So, without that being the case, I have to allow the occasional political banter. And that's what I'll do right now then, I guess. If I wasn't aware that Elon Musk was not going to be offended and thinking that I am making fun of him or something like that. But however, since it's really easy for me, evidently more than everybody else, to understand that those things that most of those things that are pirated from my show are difficult to reach. Third parties that collect cookies, third parties that monitor your recordings on your microphone. If it were difficult for me to understand that, if it wasn't difficult for me to understand that, whatever. If I just came out and said it, then those would be why I'm doing it. It's simply because I'm just simply made aware of it and then moving on. So, Elon Musk posted a political post. But, what you have on here are somebody's saying something about top 25 favorite albums. So you can see now how clearly I'm doing this as professional as possible when I'm combining someone else's in here. And before you know it, I'm actually right back on topic. Whatever that topic even is. You know, running away from all these third parties and these things that do this is where it's at. You know, that's having the setup and having all the equipment and having the proper stuff and talking about any of that stuff would be what I'm leery about, what people are leery about, what people don't want, what you're technically not allowed to say. But hey, I'm looking at a SpongeBob SquarePants radio with Immortal, an Immortal album right next to it. And that's a pleasant sight. It's such a pleasant sight, I won't say anything to it at all. So maybe that's how everybody feels about me. I'm such a delight to have that they won't say anything at all. Anyway, here's what you can understand. A lot of that stuff doesn't make sense. No more talking in the air. Time to talk back on the air. Each episode of the show had its own depiction and its own original artwork or photograph. A lot of it's abstract artwork, and some of it's actually just literally my head or literally a guitar. Some of it's artwork that I drew, and I zoomed in so far to my artwork you can't even tell what it is. You don't even know what it is because I zoomed in so far. There's another guitar. I mean, all these things have really cool memories and really important to me. There's 3 of them that are guitar picks. There's the current artwork for the show. It is actually an esoteric image. It would be categorized as something esoteric. It would be categorized as something important to important people. So far I have a rating of 2.5 stars out of 5. So it looks like out of the 2 ratings that I got with 2.5, I cannot take down my rating. I gave myself a 4-star rating, and the other rating either came from an actual viewer or another profile, but it couldn't have come from another profile considering I only have one. So with that, friends, the about description is where we'll get into now. A Lines Den production, the creation of mickeygemineye. This is Vault of Doom podcast. VOD prides itself on applying a strong emphasis on bringing diversity and detailed breakdowns of the stories, interviews about black metal with black metal musicians. Hosted by mickeygemineye, a metal artist recording and performing his craft in the dark chasms of the abyss. Metal music, metal news, metal podcast, black metal music. Extended Cuts exclusive is the subscriber official part of the show, available on Patreon. Visit the link tree. My link tree is available right there. More like this, we couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything like it. So browsing is going to take you somewhere away from the point. The point is, I don't have any other podcasts similar to more like this. It looks like that'll need to be fixed before I'm back on Spotify again. All the official certifications and verified badges and things that make the show legit and ready for monetizing is something that is going to be the miracle in disguise if I don't blow it. That the story that I've already explained about previously monetizing my content has it so that when I'm ready to monetize again and have advertisements on my show again, that's when all the other great stuff will come after. I'll be ready. That's a goal. That's a goal to have. I'll have advertisements on my show again. I can advertise. That'll generate revenue. That revenue goes into my bank account. I can claim that with the IRS, being an official content creator. All of these verifications given from there, right back to there, will give me a certified badge. It'll make people more comfortable listening to what I'm saying and not feeling paranoid or like I'm trying to rot or corrupt your mind or your children's minds because there's a badge there and all this stuff. And meanwhile, all the while, as per usual, as I have been saying the entire time, still withholding my usual fortitude and original structure. That, my friends, is something that takes me to a place where I have no choice but to relate it to ancient Masonic history and architecture. So what I'm inspired to do now is to make make an episode about architecture and masonry, and where we will dive into an episode about that, except for one problem. It doesn't fit into the context. It does not have anything to do with music. It does not have anything to do with mythology, and it does not have anything to do with history, aside from the fact that it does have something to do with history. The only problem with that is, for me to make that kind of content without any of the stuff that I just mentioned is podcaster suicide. And that's what I've been doing so far. So, obviously, until it's not okay is where I am at right now. It's okay till it's not. It is officially not okay. The thing that is going to be done about it, time healing all wounds, out of the question. Having the patience for it, no, there's not a man alive that has this kind of patience. Resorting to comedy, I have already walked away before you can say comedy anymore. But as for the actual content of the show, having a buddy, having a person on there with me, having a very large amount of very coagulated, dense energy that I can feel very deeply in my aura behind what a very frustrating, very frustrating, very easily to get me very angry situation that obviously the whole thing was a culmination into teaching people companionship or something like that without any regard to anything, because it's this person's highway or the other, and without any regard to actually doing something about it after you know about it, because it's this person's highway or the other person's highway, because you worship Jesus and you worship the devil. All the distractions, these are exclusively American issues, folks. I'm mickeygemineye. This is Vault of Doom podcast. I am in America right now, and those are a lot of words to really get geared up and started and get ready to going here for the season premiere. Oh, I'm recapping the show here by simply saying that after that's said, well, taking a step back is something I've already done enough of. Talking about my tactics is definitely something I'm not going to do. Hopping off is what I am doing right now. Let's get into this album review now, with the deets being out of the way, of course, first, so that I'm comfortable doing it. It's a 2012 release, and it looks like it's Candlelight Records. There are 11 tracks on here, and you know, making this stuff while listening to it while doing a review makes for a bit of a tricky situation. However, it couldn't help me out more. Nothing could help me out more than to try, just give it the old college try. I'll give it a go. All these themes here are nature based. All these themes here are ancient themes, as the album is The Ghost of Heritage from the band Winterfelleth. I'm going to describe, another detail provided for you is that I'm going to describe the album art as it's literally written in runes. In ancient runes, the title of the album is written. If you know how to read runes based off the top, you are one of the people that this music appeals to. I am trying to reach you as an artist and as a friend. I've been very fortunate to have met a lot of different people in my life. This is the specific kind of people that I choose to have in my life. And with myself being in this country, being distracted from that, I'm dealing with all my personal stuff by doing this. So whenever, just whenever, no big deal, no rush. Haste makes waste, as they say. And as for the themes being that, as for the actual title of the album being written in that, you know, me researching the stuff is like what the same way that Elon Musk would feel about me, you know, covering something that he's saying based on this context, just based on my intuition, a little birdie telling me, I have a hunch that it's the same way for me to say, in the same way that is the same way for me to be researching runes. And so, as that being a get your foot in the door intention, I could see that that's, you know, there's some people that still can't, a lot of people, it appears that the state of things right now is that most people can't bear the thought of valuing that initial step. That's most likely in part due to ignoring the, you know, doing everything correctly. Doing everything properly has made it so. And that is you know, that is just like, dude, I'm telling you right now. Okay, like, value most people's initiative. You know, focus on the initiative. If you can, then you can have a strong finish. You know, if you have some weak finish, like where I thought I was going to drop out there, you know, that's why I get so frustrated at editing and putting a video together. If I'm doing it with that, you know, that's not even what it is anymore. At this point now, it's like that, and having to say it, and having to take into account whatever else is going on. It's like I said, I'm a host to a bunch of viruses now. I mean, the viruses are the music community around me right now and my interactions with them. And then the other viruses seeding off of me would be also, you know, everybody else that's like you don't even like this stuff. Or you like this stuff and you don't even know anything about it. And you're not asking. You know, as I said, nobody has the patience for that stuff. I am no exception. So having the actual album review, you know, putting this stuff together, it would blow your fucking mind that I would still be able to talk about the percussion in this album being extremely what stood out through the album. That those snares and those cymbals had the timing that really got me going. It really gimped my gullet to hear those percussion notes standing out very strongly through the wall of sound of the guitars, of course the vocals, and on this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is some clean singing. I believe that on some of these, if there is not some clean singing, there's certainly some chanting. So, with there being some chanting, and some chanting, and some possible clean singing, I mean, I gave this album 5 stars out of 5. It's a very well put together album, and especially in the fact that it's lacking a lot of what would make for a perfect production. It's a perfect production when it's perfectly imperfect. So that's gonna make it so that it has 5 stars out of 5 out from me. But of course, the photograph being nothing in comparison to anything I could ever do here. We don't have castles here. There aren't any castles here, so I can't take a photograph of a castle. But there's a castle. There's an old ancient castle on here. Okay? And I mean, you know, just the dynamics are where I really have the comments on. So I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that, the dynamics of how the ups and downs of the show really had a smooth transition. I was listening to an album yesterday that had a premiere. I was listening to an album premiere yesterday where it streamed live, and it's a great album. As usual, everybody's very excited about this kind of music, as it is an exceptional substitute for classical. Where if you can't go to Vienna, Austria, and make classical music, and go to school for making classical music, you can make this kind of music. You can get excited about this kind of music. You can talk about this kind of music. But it didn't have very smooth transitions in that live stream. It was not the quality. It was not the technology. It was the band. This one's dynamics has very smooth transitions where it takes you through a wave of ups and downs. That's what dynamics are, ups and downs. So that's how I would describe it, as opposed to static. It's dynamic, folks. If you like all that ancient occult stuff, if you like Vikings, if you like runes, if you like castles, if you like spiritual chantings that are... It's not an anti-Christian black metal album. It's a black metal album, but it's not under the anti-Christian category. It's non-Christian, where you will substitute your spirituality that you would otherwise put into Jesus Christ. You will put it into ancestors, heritage, where you come from. As for those guitar riffs on here, I mean, I don't have much to say about those guitar riffs on here. But one thing that I want to really try to end up doing is streaming some of the moments that I share with these albums. As I share lots of moments with these albums, they're not quite memories until I've live streamed them. So it's nothing really memorable has happened yet, honestly, aside from the one that I have in the itinerary. The itinerary is I can play entire discographies of Cradle of Filth. From start to finish, I will play Cradle of Filth. So, you know, make a tribute band, someone says. There aren't tribute bands of Cradle of Filth. You know, people like me and people that make this kind of music have the ability to say stuff like that. And it resonates. It stands out. It means something. To whoever I'm talking to, of course. If I'm not talking to anybody, well, to hell with it. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. You know, I'm speaking my mind here, and so those guitar riffs. The other band that I've been following is Gormoth. Those are some guitar riffs that very much resonate with me. They have a bit of a catchy slew to them. And recently released, the most recent one is My Own Funeral, where the album art appears to be some sort of AI, where if he was to do the AI, to program the AI, he would say, you know, make it look like a Thomas Kincaid painting or something like that. And then you'd find most of the album art for this guy, and you'd say to yourself, well, I guess I don't necessarily care that it's AI. I did an episode on the AI, and I did an episode on Cradle of Filth's obvious use of AI as Cryptoriana and the Seductiveness of Decay. The only album that I actually went to a real record shop in downtown Chicago for, it's obviously AI. But you know, it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't matter. So with this guy kind of like doing his thing, alright, he made the album with 4 tracks on it, and there's a few other ones that have that same format. Having like 4 tracks on it, that's good. It's like an EP, it's like a short little burst of his creative flow that he's going through, and he's remaining in constant contact and engagement with the fans. The fans are being constantly engaged with through the messages on the Bandcamp. He's earning the money from his work through the Bandcamp, and that is something to use as a business model, as everyone continuously says this. You want to earn money from your music, do the Bandcamp thing. You want to make the whole Bandcamp game work? Well, I'm pretty sure I've scared everybody off enough to where they're not going to try to give me any pointers or anything. So whenever I have my stuff ready to be uploaded to Bandcamp, then it'll be a pretty good day. It'll be a pretty good day when that happens, folks. For now, like I said, all the special select cuts are on SoundCloud, and you can do your YouTube streaming of my stuff, even though you're not, because there's literally no views on any of them. So I'm uploading those there, I'm uploading those there, I'm submitting those to the promoting channels. And like I said, any amount of stopping is going to be very detrimental to the success in the long run. So I can't see that it's going to be a thing. Can't foresee the end anytime soon. But hey, let's get back on track. Those riffs that guy makes, they're borderline melodic. So they have those borderline melodic riffs have something where I can play them myself, and then that's what needs to be streamed. When I'm going to be doing those streamings, I may be limited on the YouTube side of things, where I can have you guys watch a live stream on YouTube with enough subscribers. I think it's 50 subscribers are required to do a YouTube live stream. Until then, I'm doing all of my live streaming on Twitch. So that'll be where you can find videos only as I live stream them, as they're removed 2 weeks later. So when that happens and I feel like jumping on, for now, that's a safe space to me. You know, you might be seeing all these videos, seeing all this stuff, and hearing what's going down, thinking, that guy must have lost his mind. He must be going crazy in there. Not quite. Not quite, my friends. I haven't quite lost my mind yet. I have Twitch and Bandcamp as the only sanctuary for now, and I am hell-bent on preserving that and facilitating that those two places remain a safe space and a safe channel for me to broadcast my creativity. With the fucking goddamn motherfucking stuff that is in the itinerary for Cradle of Filth discographies. I mean, those are, you know, it worries me to have the proper volume levels where you can hear my guitar in the background. It worries me that this is where I have to add in a whole nother segment introducing my current guitar. It is a guitar. It has served, it does make distorted sounds with my software. But for me to think about how to introduce it, I don't think about how I'm going to introduce it. I just introduce it. So I'm going to be ending the show with the segment where I'm introducing my guitar, and then you'll understand a little bit more why I'm going to be continuously still asking for your support by donating on the Cash App, hashtag mickeygemineye, as well as subscribe to the Patreon for exclusive content. If you want to get some bang for your buck. And then that's where all the money's gonna go. You know, getting another electric guitar. You know, maybe, you know, feeling like I need to share the story of what happened to my last electric guitar. Redirecting you to the film that I made, and then there'll be, you know, that's a work of art.
come on from waves and gain. Contradictory trajectory. Harmonies for pain to blame. Everything to win. That has come in. But for new exist. As it pulls and twists. Nature of a truly modern witch. They have been elements across the limits. Upsetting these spirits. Holding together what truly is no longer needs. They say to exist. Fall apart in the appendages. Tuck together inside iron twigs. Of a trodden cornered witch. One God, one life, this practice, being inherited. Flashing up at the trees they watch, recording every bit, according to the schooling of signature humans. Options queer, all of the sphere of heretic selfless. Gadgets I see, we drag ourselves free to various forms of torture, all to be alone with the deity, whose madness never seems to falter. What abundant excuse found into the laser were bound. Never is rings within the walls and uses. Broken man was already a cutting landing snake, born for this shame. Well, is the grace for thine I give thanks in befriending me.
Anyways, so having the album reviews out of the way, I want to say doing the riffs for those Gormoth albums will be something that I get those riffs stuck in my head often. So doing the live stream for those, doing the live stream of more discographies. I've already done some discographies. I did one set. I did 2 sets. So one set of 2 each times 2 is the confusing way to say it. The proper way to say it is I've done 2 sets of Cradle of Filth discographies. That means 4 in total. 2 sets means 2 each, 4 total. So those albums being done, as I know all the riffs for those and most of the lyrics for those, It's a great way to introduce people into the genre. It's a great It's a great way for me to, and this is part of my duty here. This is part of something I feel the responsibility for, something that I feel like would feed me and give me some satisfaction for, is that you may be like demented or crazy or something. Well, that's perfect, because before all this swarm of craziness started happening, we gravitated towards this genre of music and did all of our crazy stuff that you couldn't conceive doing nowadays. Cradle of Filth has always been my favorite band, but there's actually two favorite bands. You know, we were so crazy, me and my friends were so crazy about the bands that we liked, that we did crazy stuff about it, and nowadays people don't. You don't have that at all. I can see that somebody said that in another podcast, and I can see that what I am saying is based on something that I'm unable to basically describe or explain. And that's because it is the indescribable, it is the unexplainable, and that is therein lies the content. That's where I'm drawing inspiration from. So if you need a cool story, I've definitely got a cool story for you, but I'm just, uncertain at this point for like how, who's gonna be affected by that, and what way they would be affected by it. I don't know. Any fucking way. Anywho, and at any rate, okay, the discography is being done. Alright, those are like those need to be added on. I need to do more. I like to stray from doing the same ones, but if I have to do the same ones in accompaniment with something new, that's fine. And of course, that's the introduction, but it's going to get you introduced into, it's going to get people back into using this, as I'm not a boxer or a UFC fighter with anything more than the desire to be a boxer, UFC fighter, or anything in my backyard, though. Okay, not like professional boxer, UFC fighter, all that stuff. Like in my backyard or at a party, I'll box you. We can spar. We can do some jiu-jitsu. We can do some MMA, and then that does not mean that I am a boxer, UFC fighter, or fighter, or anything like that. That means that I guess this is where I'm doing the talk. This is the talk. You have to explain to your kids where babies come from. I'm not qualified for that. I'm not getting paid at all. Period. So, period. End of story. However, I am very passionate about these things, so when I do talk about that stuff, it's under that context of a completely harmless, not getting in anybody's way type of thing, and it's the same for that thing, but it is not the same for this thing. It is not the same for this thing. For this thing, it has way more momentum and way more time behind it. This thing I first picked up a guitar. This thing has me saying words like I first picked up a guitar when I was like 9 years old. And played Smoke on the Water and fucking Seven Nation Army, and the other instrument that I have, playing that other instrument, Hot Crust Buns. Mary Had a Little Lamb, before actually getting into really a swarm of shit that, like, on everybody else's dollar, I can't fucking spend my time doing all that, and it's good because, luckily, like, people are not as dumb as everybody seems to need to act like they are. It's like, oh, act like you're injured, act like you're dumb, act like this, act like that. Well, whatever then, whatever. You know, so fuck, you know, really glad that I've cut movies out of my life completely and won't be watching any more movies ever again. So that's good. Feeling really glad about that. And I don't know how I could possibly feel better, especially considering that the time I would otherwise be spending watching a movie, when I spend it watching a live concert or listening to an album, that the effect afterwards is far more beneficial to my mental clarity, to my mental health, and then I can focus on my physical health. Like I'll have the desire to get up, go for a walk, you know, continue, you know, keeping good personal hygiene. But those movies, you know, that'd be a thing where like, yeah, I'll watch a movie with you, and then it's like, okay, cool, we just wasted some time. You know, every now and then you gotta waste some time, and you can't really ever quite cut everything out completely. But my movie nights are over. I've had movie night to, you know, serve its purpose and get nowhere. So those movie reviews that I've been doing, it was a great finale or something like that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, however, that doesn't go with affecting my vision. It just affects how I feel about the vision. Like having my vision of what songs that I have prepped and ready for my next recording session, for example. That's me sharing some of my imagination with you. You know, if you come across these things, you find these things and come across these things based on tags and hashtags and the words that I'm using in the description, and then me sharing that with stuff with you, up against juggernauts like Cradle of Filth, up against longtime legends like Nightwish and other symphonic components and installments in the metal genre, specifically the metal genre. With me having a history as a rapper and having a history doing reggae music and all that other stuff, you know, that jackknifes everything and throws everything for a loop. It might give me enough time to breathe then, because it looks like no matter what I try to do, everything that has to do with everything that I care about is constantly always a problem and constantly always getting in the way. And then caring about it bleeds into and leaks into other people's lives, affects other people's lives, makes them gaslight me, and then makes them all think things like don't care so much about it, or, you know, other various things that I am gifted in the spiritual realm that make it so that I have to go to my ancestry. I have to stick with my ancestry and all the things that it entails, and until everything comes from an explicit and legitimate authority, everything else is fun and games. It's just that it's on someone else's time, and it's on someone else's dollar, and it's on someone else's sanity, and unfortunately no one knows who anything is, or what anything is, or who anything is right now. So me waiting for the smoke to clear might be something that costs me whatever I said that it costs me, basically, like a name your price type deal. But it's not the end all be all. It is not going to cost me my vision, the thing that I have clearly set in my mind, the guitar riffs that I can remember throughout these last few years of absolute chaos, and then putting those riffs into recording, hearing these riffs on recording, and then having everything prepped, ready, put together. There's nothing extra that's there that's been done to the recordings or added to the vision, aside from adding a little extra pop, a little extra emphasis, and a lot of frustration, a lot of unnecessary frustration. But these vaulted recordings that have been locked inside my mind for these last few years of chaos are what I'm talking about, and these still won't be out this year. So these are the mechanics and how appears that the actual music industry works. Me, I just sound like a crazy fucking bum babbling random shit, and my music sounds like some doofus with a phone with recording software on his phone. And that's good, because there are a lot of both of those things, and that's good because I am neither one of those things. I know now who I am, as I say in my lyrics. So all all the stuff that's been vaulted is one aspect of the show, Vault of Doom. Okay, all this stuff is probably only made possible because of me and my vision, my musical creative vision. These songs have been vaulted. When they're released, that's what's left for everybody else. And until I'm acknowledged like a creator, or the creator of this, or until I'm acknowledged like I handled this well, or until I'm acknowledged like here is in what way that I'm acknowledging you, is like for me to be a fan of Cradle of Filth, like here's what I'm acknowledging you, here's how I'm acknowledging you, or this and that, or they don't interact typically on the social medias, but the guy that runs the band does a shitload of interviews, so he's always basically interacting with you if you follow him. If you follow him and you listen to what he's saying, and you do all that stuff, then he is talking to you. Then he is talking directly to you. But if you're just gonna fucking leave the guy by the wayside, you're just it's no skin off anybody's nose at that point. So then I gotta bounce out or something like that. And here's where I'm gonna go on to the next topic. Just collecting myself here a little bit. Okay, I'm collecting myself. I've collected myself. Yeah, and so the stuff that's doomed is something I'm glad that I got into on this episode, guys, with these establishments that got doomed, what involvement and how it might or might not have been my fault. It breaks my achy breaky heart that the music venue is closed, that the local music shop where you could go to get guitar strings and your money will go to a local resident is closed, that the not huge corporation, but the underdog corporation, the corporation that would be defined as underdog corporation, as the underdog, not Guitar Center, but the one that's not as popular, is closed. As a podcaster, I guess, or whatever, or what have you, all that I can do is document it and say something about it. I obviously can't go to anybody in the musical community and expect them to come up with a straight answer, and I obviously can't go up to the musical community and expect them to collaborate with me in any realistic or functional manner. Not this musical community, not that community. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them Sam I am. I mean, we're not fucking, China, okay? We're not running sweatshops of fucking metal music over here. And metal music is not about pushing yourself that fucking far. When you are able to say things like that and you curate that stuff, it's like, good, you're already established. I'm not established. And I'm never going to be, is the attitude of, hey, that's a friend of mine. Friend of the devil's a friend of mine. And then when I fucking get down to it and I say, well, the end is the end, I guess. If it's not the end, then it's not the end. So in the meantime, I say, in the meantime, let's collaborate. Let's make some fashion products. I want to rock really cool fashion products and then look really cool. Nope, out of the question. All right, in the meantime, anything else or whatever, it's like, collaborate here, come together. Gather together. if establishments get closed down and then stay closed down because they say, well, oh well, you know, I'm not going to let this bother me, then, you know, me having always been the craziest one in the group and then not having proper and appropriate acknowledgement and evidence of the acknowledgement of being the craziest dude is a loose cannon bull in a china shop. It is, you cannot place much on the craziest dude for long. And if the craziest dude sits around saying that, then that typically signifies the end. What it does not signify the end of is the craziest dude always have been, always going to be the craziest dude. So I don't know, you know, I don't know how watered down and diluted that society can possibly be that it would ever lose interest in Jackass, the Dude Sons, Stunt Devils, Daredevils, Stunt Doubles. If there's a secret cult and secret order that like worships those kinds of people, you know, they need to hurry on up and get on with the logistics of things, since clearly the craziest dude gets left to feed on itself. Like when your stomach feeds on itself, that's what's happening now. You know, the lyrics were all creative inspiration. All these other bands that are legends like Slayer are like, yeah, the song started, and Randy Blythe, Lamb of God, like, well, the band started with this, and then the band started with this. Well, I'm that, just a different way. Like, well, you know, the lyrics and the songwriting started, no context needed, no context provided. There's plenty of time though. But you know, the way that all this stuff started was naturally flowing to me. Everybody else also says that too. I've heard Dark Tranquility say, you know, whatever sounds are naturally flowing through me or what we're making. You know, it's like, well, that's how it started. It's like the songs that naturally flow to me. And now it's just like, whoa, holy shit, I guess I'm way far behind. And now I have to fucking make up for lost time and be handling the business side of things and organizing all this stuff. I've organized and chopped up and dissected so much of my work now that the vision that I had is still there. It's just been robbed of its natural, it's been robbed of its virginity. Where the vision that I had was very clear cut, very easy to understand, very marketable, and very easy to explain. And now it's been chopped up into a bunch of different pieces, and I have to fucking put it out that way because it's don't touch it type of thing. It's like don't touch it at all kind of thing. Like leave it all like it is, put it out like it is, hope for the best, fingers crossed, basically, but I'm still gonna have to explain all this later. Oh, and I'm unfortunately still happy with it, and the reason why it's unfortunate is because I'm somehow or other still able to gauge what's unfortunate and fortunate in the midst of all this chaos. You know, it's like, obviously you're not a metalhead. Obviously you don't like metal. You know, someone is not going to ever fucking be able to explain the shit the way that I have explained it. There is a very good, reasonable explanation for why I'm experiencing so many technical difficulties, and that is why. If nobody else can explain it this well, you would need a spiritual guide or something, or guru to explain, to handle that domain. It's not my place to broadcast that message. Fucking shit, folks. That is a recap. That is a few events going on in the metal scene. That is you know, what to expect at the end of the year, what to expect for the following year. But for the most part, that vision is clear, that those videos might still go out, you know, in the way that I want them to. It's that's a real fingers crossed right now situation for me recently just throwing up a bunch of unedited footage and then calling it a music video. Is I don't have time to call it avant-garde. I don't have time to call it a certain specific kind of music or laissez-faire or whatever uneducated, unable to understand music, uneducated in the music world type of thing that I have to say. That maybe that'll buy me some time, I guess, to fucking put up another fort, rebuild a new fortress and hub to actually accurately portray the vision the way that it has been given to me. So if the stuff has been given to me, I don't say things like that belongs to me, or, you know, Pale Man style chase and hunt everybody down and all these things. I just simply like, you know, oh, there's a problem here. All right, work through it. I like a challenge. So then putting out the fucking songs the way that they are clearly have been given to me, putting out all that stuff, it's pretty safe to say this is all just a really old school, outdated, but also favorable, and a lot of people have a preference and would prefer that this be an old school way of buying my golden ticket, of buying my way in to the scene and getting my foot in the door to suck all of the fun out of it and just simply say it point blank period how it is. And with the way that I actually feel about it, well, of course I feel apathetic about it. Of course it sucked a lot of the life out of me as well. But that's the unfortunate. I'm able to gauge whether it's fortunate or unfortunate thing. So maybe this isn't your thing. If that makes any sense at all, folks. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't ask. Does that make sense? It wouldn't be a question that would ever be answered. It would be a big, huge waste of my time. Nonetheless, at any rate, I'm very excited about actually having this vision finally come to being. I do have the standard of that being now, I do have certain specific details of the standard being somewhere along those lines, that what you can expect from me is that when I put out an episode, it's going to be, you're going to get a certain quality that you've become familiar with because you listen to me and because you follow me. And if I put out music, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be something that entails genuinity, authenticity. It's going to be something that entails, you know, things that you can't copy. Like it's not something that you can copy. So again, you know, hearing other people say this, I've heard plenty of compliments. I've heard plenty of compliments and all that other stuff. It just was given in, no, you don't know how to interact with me. You don't know how to use me properly because the things were not given. It wasn't proper. It wasn't appropriate. And so when the stuff comes out, I'm stoked about hearing what other people have to say about the stuff before, of course, actually getting back on stage and performing this shit live. I mean, having the, you know, having all the stuff practiced where here's my drum sequences, here's my other instrument sequences, here are my two instruments that I'm playing, here are my vocals. I'm performing live in front of people as a one-man band, you know, experiencing any kind of anxiety literally melts away. It dissolves away. It melts away. It goes away upon that experience. And you know, that's something that I would have to personally deal with myself, of, you know, everybody being so like, well, first of all, everybody's doing this from home now, so you have less anxiety about this stuff. So, you know, it's a personal thing that I have to deal with. You know, if I'm down with it, if I'm down for it, and I'm into just powering through it, and there's a, you know, you have to do that now, but without acknowledging it, or if there's some other rules, you know, it would be quite helpful indeed to have someone that I'm on their payroll. You know, if I'm getting paid to do this, this would affect everything. You know, at least it would be recorded at that point. You know, the events would be recorded. Not this. Not here. Not like this. You know, there's getting paid to do it, and then there's not getting paid to do it, and then there's, you know, Mr. Big Philosophy Man muddying and junking everything up. We have ourselves pretty lengthy episode, just completely done for, guys. And so with the metal scene being doomed, and the things that are doomed, you know, that's what we're gonna focus on for the rest of the season. I want to add in some cool stuff. That I'm interested in. Obviously, I have to go through the proper channels and then have that other content pushed out this year. But that stuff's got to go this year one way or the other. So you can expect to hear some stuff about Celtic mythology, some ancient Celtic mythology stuff, and then some literary classics. Having a couple other things pushed out, you know, as a way to describe my situation and like the current predicament and circumstances I find myself in. It is one thing that personally plagues me when I'm trying to have a clear, fresh mind on making fresh new content that's entertaining and enjoyable for my viewers. That it's like, look, it doesn't have to be taken personally. And look, I don't need to use this as an orifice for explaining my circumstances or describing where I'm at with things. I need to do this in describing where I'm at with things, minus something that is very saturated with emotionally charged. So, you know, these kinds of descriptions right now, the kind of words I'm using right now, where my headspace is at right now, these are things that literally have everybody like in the same boat. So why would they listen to it, sort of thing? And it's like, well, that's my point. You know, it's like the attention spans do not last very long. And so working with it all, playing it all by ear, doing everything as it works, and then actually recapping, reassessing with, you know, my recapping and reassessing is done at the same time as when I actually view my content. When I actually view my stuff and I actually review what I've made, I pretty much recap it at the same time, so I don't have to worry about all that. And then, you know, for me to explain that bars me from a little stuff. Now I get to start basically calling the shots and saying like, well, stop bothering me about it then. You know, it's like, it's like the content that I'm putting out is like impossible for me to get to the point where I'm just saying simply literary classics. I'm going to go over some stuff that's on a book that I already have set in the foreground, Tristram and Iseult. Some stuff from the Mabinogi. And then, you know, some German literary classic that, you know, all these things have connections to. If I have to draw the connections for myself to feel comfortable, I don't mind doing that. But, you know, having that be left aside is what's valuable and an important lesson for me to learn. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe, but doing the German literary classic, and you can expect to see the Metal Hammer UK 2 issues coming at you. I'm gonna squeeze and cram those into one episode to get those out of the way. It's just an everything must go, everything out of the fucking way this year type of introduction. This is the beginning of the end, folks. I'm gonna sign out, bid you guys adieu, and just remind you that a lot of this stuff is very real, but you can simply take it for what it's worth by the time it reaches you. You can rest assured that by the time any of these messages reach you, I will have already been going over future episodes, staying working here, and then a big lesson for you to learn too is just the keeping in the spirit of actually creating quality. That the biggest part of actually making a lot of the stuff is the spaces in between stuff. So when I go through my ghost moments and ghost everybody and bounce out and all that stuff, and that's something that people want, well, it's, that's a personal issue on you. My ass being pretty much like fucking getting too old to be sitting here going back and forth with all the possibilities of what the stuff is that could be happening or could not be happening, and everybody's dealing with their mental health right now. The word mental health occurs very often. It's an important thing to focus on. But that's it. I've run the thing into the. I've completely run the fucking. That's all of it, folks, for this episode. I've run the thing completely in the ground. 33 in the third. This is my guitar. It's a 6-string classical acoustic travel sized, and it literally serves only as finger exercise machine, where I can play guitar riffs up and down the neck and do arpeggios of D sharp minor and G sharp minor with my fingers constantly moving up and down 6 strings and having the calibration of my fingers on both sides. And until the actual electric guitar is back into my hands again, that's literally all I have to say about this thing. This is something that I'm making distorted sounds with on my recording software by putting on some distortion, and then I'll adjust I'll adjust the drive and the gain, and use some of the presets, such as distortion for when I want some distortion, destroy for when I want extreme distortion, overdrive for when I want some of the cleaner sounds, and then adjusting everything. When I'm doing that, I'll have something going through my head like, really, like, all the way until the fucking recording meets somebody's ear, and then I'm talking to them about it. Way all the way until then, I'll be like, oh, so on this song and on this part of the song, here's what I did with it. I turned the gain all the way down and just added it up just a little, and then I turned the drive all the way down and added it up just a little, and then I got this sound. That's how I got this sound from it. But this is my guitar. This is a 6-string classical acoustic dreadnought. I forgot dreadnought. It's a dreadnought body with the travel size being so that I cannot reach certain notes. As I go all the way up here, this is the highest note I can hit. On my tuning, of course. Going all the way high up, this is where I get into too much detail. That the going all the way high up on my tuning doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. But talking about tunings with people who are interested in talking about tunings, not being able to do that, that's a big deal. There's a whole shitload of forums. There's Reddits, there's vlogs, there's blogs, there's all kinds of ways to talk to all kinds of people. If only Mickey Gemini didn't get in Mickey Gemini's own way, and if only that were still an accessible and if only that were still an accessible excuse for why the quality of the content I'm making is pretty awesome. I mean, look at this video. Already looks super cool. You know, it's like I'm straying off from that anyway, from wherever I was going with that, and just simply stating that this is my guitar and this is what I'm making the sounds with. So actually being there, it's kind of funny, you know, it's like actually being there and doing that with doing that with this in front of anywhere where this wasn't expected. It'd be the same result, where they wouldn't know what to say. You know, that you don't want to make fun of somebody who's doing this necessarily, you know, unless you're not afraid to engage and embark in a new friendship. You know, if me not being afraid to engage and embark in a new friendship, I would, you know, I would say something, you know, kind of like funny, offensive, and then get a friendship from it. But a lot of people would rather have a friendship than whatever else. Anyway, obviously I don't have anything else to say, so I'm gonna sign out now. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You can see the cash tag right here. There's my cash tag right there, and then go to the link tree right here. This is the link tree where it has all of the links on there: Patreon, Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Threads. TikTok is on there now too. I just started the TikTok. I'm going to be posting little shorts up on there. And all of the YouTube channels. That's Lions Den Production YouTube. The current black metal project that I'm working on is YouTube. Mikey Gemini official YouTube. There is one more as well. The podcast you're watching. The Vault of Doom podcast YouTube, and the Spotify link to that as well. Everything is right there. Link in bio, link tree being a link in bio link, and you can go there and check out all the content. As I've said, there's a variety of stuff on here. You know, I'm not going to post videos about anything outside of the contexts that I've already set and the parameters that have been set. But if I do, and if it's a delight to you, or if it's frustrating to you, drop a comment in the comments section. And thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you to the people who do submit comments and submit their feedback, and new followers, and the people that I have received donations from. With that said, guys, this is full way to kick off the season. Let's get this one underway.